Hokage. My Sharingan is about to burst. Chapter 41. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen heard that Uchiha Chushin promised him to come to Anbu, and the expression on his face softened. He put on a smile again, raised his hand and patted Uchiha Chushin on the shoulder. That's right, young people should not be afraid of trouble and should exercise more so that they can take on more important responsibilities in the future. After hearing what Third Hokage said, Uchiha nodded repeatedly on the surface, expressing that he agreed with his words, and secretly complained like crazy, "Good guy, you haven't joined the job yet, and you started to draw a pie for me, and you are not afraid that I will choke." After the Third Hokage finished appeasing the Uchiha clan, he was not in the mood to stay here any longer. After all, a junior he liked very much and listened to his words died, and Shimura Danzo also created a big mess for him, and he still had to clean it up. Not only must they appease the large and small families in the village and dispel their concerns, but they must also ensure that Konoha village does not care about their blood inheritance limits and family secrets when they come out. After Uchiha Chushin and Uchiha Fugaku sent Third Hokage away, Uchiha, represented by Uchiha Fugaku, expressed his gratitude to the various family speakers they invited. The people in these families are also human beings. When they saw that the Uchiha clan was about to move out of Konoha village and there was no conflict of interest with them, they all said it didn't matter and wanted to get closer to them in the future, just like when they excluded the Uchiha clan in the past. Their share is the same. The most important thing is that Uchiha Chushin's performance just now was too scary. Such a huge Susanoo was like a god coming to the world, including Shimura Danzo's root group, including many Jonin strongmen, and they were easily solved by Uchiha Chushin's sword. As long as they are not stupid, the Uchiha clan will not easily offend the Uchiha clan who holds such a powerful weapon. Moreover, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Uchiha Chushin's strength has already reached the peak of Kage level, as long as he is young. No matter what happens, he will become an extremely powerful person in the future. After Uchiha Chushin and Fugaku sent away these family representatives, they finally had time to deal with Uchiha Shisui's funeral affairs. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Uchiha Shisui's body lying there with a complicated expression. If it weren't for Uchiha Chushin's prophecy and the backup plan he left, Uchiha Shisui would really be dead this time. Fortunately, things went according to plan. On the surface, the Uchiha clan died of a genius with great potential. In fact, they only turned the genius from bright to dark, which was the greatest protection for him. Originally, Uchiha Chushin wanted to use local materials to make a stretcher to carry Uchiha Shisui. At this time, Uchiha Itachi, who had been silent since Uchiha Shisui's death, said that he could carry Shisui's body back as a gift to his most beloved Shisui. My last trip. Seeing his eldest son like this, Uchiha Fugaku looked at Uchiha Chushin and asked with his eyes whether he should tell Uchiha Itachi the truth. Seeing the questioning look in Uchiha Fugaku's eyes, Uchiha Chushin secretly shook his head and said not to make any noise yet. After Uchiha and his party packed up, Uchiha Itachi carried Shisui's body, protected by other Uchiha tribesmen, and rushed towards the Uchiha tribe in the afterglow of the setting sun. As the saying goes, the whole show needs to be done. After carrying Uchiha Shisui's body back, everyone was not idle. They hurriedly packed up Shisui's house and decorated it as a mourning hall. Uchiha Itachi took the initiative to stay and keep vigil before the clan members left. Leave. After decorating Uchiha Shisui's mourning hall, Uchiha Chushin wandered out of the clan and went to Ichiraku Ramen to eat several large portions of ramen. Since practicing the lightning-style armor, his appetite has skyrocketed and he eats faster. He can no longer afford to eat, but in contrast, his physical fitness is improving rapidly. Uchiha Chushin has a hunch that his physical fitness will soon reach the critical value. By then, he will be able to upgrade Mangekyo Sharingan to Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and the strength will be greatly improved. After teasing the little Iris, Uchiha Chushin packed 2 more large portions of ramen and slowly carried them back to the tribe and to Uchiha Shisui's home. After entering Shisui's house, Uchiha Chushin happened to see Uchiha Itachi sitting upright and kneeling there, burning paper money for Shisui. Seeing this, the corner of Uchiha Chushin's mouth twitched, and he thought with some guilt, if Uchiha Itachi knew the truth, would he chase him with a knife? When the time comes, would he run or resist? Sure enough, he would drag Makoto to the space. Let's hide on the island for a few days. Well, the supplies I worked so hard to prepare came in handy at this time. Just when Uchiha Chushin's thoughts were dangerously divergent, Uchiha Itachi discovered him. After seeing that it was Uchiha Chushin, he politely asked, "Brother Chushin, you are here to see Brother Shisui. After all, you guys used to the relationship is so good." As he spoke, the look in his eyes dimmed. Seeing the sadness in Uchiha Itachi's eyes, Uchiha Chushin no longer wanted to joke, nodded, put the things he brought on the table next to him, and said, "I know you haven't eaten, so I brought you some. Eat it while it's hot, it won't taste good when it's cold." Uchiha Itachi heard Chushan's words, shook his head and refused. "Chushan brother, I'm not hungry, you should eat first." Uchiha Chushin was stunned for a moment when he heard Uchiha Itachi's words. He looked at what he had brought before he realized what he was doing. He didn't expect that Uchiha Itachi was still so observant even when he was so sad. He was indeed a born ninja. Seeing that Uchiha Itachi refused to eat, Chushan didn't pay attention. He looked at the time and felt that it was almost done. Then he went directly to Uchiha Shisui's body. Under Uchiha Itachi's puzzled gaze, he opened the cover of Uchiha Shisui's body. White cloth. After Uchiha Itachi saw what Uchiha Chushin had done, he could no longer sit still. He stood up immediately and asked, "Brother Shisui is already dead, what are you going to do? You are desecrating his body." Uchiha Chushin saw that the calm Uchiha Itachi finally lost his temper. For some reason, he felt a little happy and decided to tease him again. What else can I remember about Uchiha Shisui? It is of course the greatest legacy he left behind, Mangekyo Sharingan. Rather than letting his Mangekyo rot with him, he might as well let me take it and use it in a useful place. With that said, he must move forward. Uchiha Itachi saw Uchiha Chushin's bad behavior and couldn't stand it anymore. He took out a kunai, pointed the tip of the kunai directly at Uchiha Chushin, and growled, "How dare you touch Shisui's body?" Seeing Uchiha Itachi holding a kunai towards him, Uchiha Chushin slowly turned around and looked at the angry Uchiha Itachi with a calm expression. "Uchiha Itachi, are you serious? How dare you point a weapon at me? Have you ever thought about the consequences of doing this?" Saying that, Uchiha Chushin opened the Mangekyo Sharingan and looked directly at Uchiha Itachi. The mental power and chakra that was enough to crush everyone was hidden, and through the Mangekyo Sharingan, it brought huge pressure to Uchiha Itachi. Feeling the huge pressure brought by Uchiha Chushin, Uchiha Itachi also opened his Sharingan. It was 3 Magatama at first. As the pressure from Uchiha Chushin increased on him, the 3 Magatama rotated crazily, and finally the outline became Mangekyo Sharingan in the shape of 3 sickles. With the appearance of Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Itachi felt that the pressure brought by Uchiha Chushin on him became much smaller, and his heart that was beating violently just now also relaxed. Seeing Uchiha Itachi showing off his Mangekyo Sharingan under his own pressure, although his momentum has not yet surpassed his own, he already has a faint feeling of rivalry. The corner of Uchiha Chushin's mouth raised slightly, and he slowly withdrew his aura and pressure, and withdrew his Mangekyo Sharingan. He looked at Uchiha Itachi with a smile in his eyes. As expected of Shisui, he seems to have opened up Mangekyo Sharingan. Sharingan. Uchiha Itachi saw Uchiha Chushin chatting leisurely. Even though he had always had a superior IQ, he was a little confused at this time. Then, with some realization, he asked, "Are you testing me?" Uchiha Chushin curled his lips and sat next to him feeling a little bored. "That's not really true. The main reason is that I'm too bored to wait. I'm teasing you." Uchiha Itachi was a little angry when he heard Chushan's words. "Even if you want to test me, don't desecrate Brother Shisui's body. You are also a good friend of Brother Shisui. Are you worthy of him by doing this?" Uchiha Chushin picked up the kettle on the table, poured himself a glass of water, and said nonchalantly, "Then what's the point of being sorry? Shisui is not dead." Uchiha Itachi was pleasantly surprised when he heard Chushan's words, because there were many secret techniques of suspended animation in this ninja world. He thought Shisui was using the secret technique, but then he thought about it, and his eyes were just ignited with hope. It dimmed again, shook his head, and said, "I also hope that Brother Shisui's death is fake, but the third Hokage has already confirmed Brother Shisui's death, and how could that old fox Shimura Danzo hold back when he killed Brother Shisui? Besides, Brother Shisui died. At that time, there were not only Grandmaster Medical Ninjutsu people, but also the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan watching. If Shisui brother faked his death, how could he have escaped their eyes? Although Uchiha Itachi said it was impossible, he still couldn't help opening the Mangekyo Sharingan that he had just exited, and carefully observed Uchiha Shisui's body. After looking up and down carefully, Uchiha Itachi still I have turned off Mangekyo and have just turned on Mangekyo Sharingan, so I am still a little uncomfortable with it. Uchiha Itachi rubbed his sore eyes and couldn't help but sigh again. He had just looked carefully with Mangekyo, but he still didn't find a trace of chakra from Uchiha Shisui. For ninjas, chakra is the body and the product of the combination of spirits. Only when it dies completely will there be no chakra in the body. Seeing Uchiha Itachi sighing there, Uchiha Chushin complained in his heart, if Izanagi was so easy to be discovered or cracked, Uchiha Madara's fake death would not have been hidden from Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. Seeing Uchiha Itachi still there feeling sad, Uchiha Chushin did not persuade him anymore. After all, counting the time, it was almost time for Izanagi on Uchiha Shisui to activate. In fact, for Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Chushin is not bad for his senses. Although he is partially responsible for the annihilation of the Uchiha clan, the main responsibility lies in Shimura Danzo's fueling the flames, Third Hokage's indecision and Uchiha Obito's secret mischief. Shimura Danzo is because of the legacy of his teacher Second Hokage and he covets the power of Sharingan, while Uchiha Obito knows that the Uchiha clan is the biggest stumbling block for him to implement the Eye of the Moon plan, because the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan is the most restrained by his Kamui. If his Kamui is restrained, he will be an ordinary cage-level strongman and his plan will not be able to proceed. Don't you see, only after Uchiha Itachi died, Uchiha Obito felt that there was no threat, so he came out and launched a war against the entire ninja world. One of the main reasons why Uchiha Itachi was forced to destroy his family and leave only his younger brother was that his mind was too high. It may have been that he had witnessed war and death since he was a child. Generally speaking, people of the same age are more mature, and the height and depth of their thinking are different from ordinary people, even much deeper than that of adults. Therefore, he was praised by Third Hokage for thinking from a Hokage perspective. While others are still stuck in love, hate, and hatred, he has already transcended ordinary emotions. Therefore, his love has already surpassed the restrictions of his family and even the restrictions of the village, so he can do things that are unimaginable in the eyes of others. The thing, to destroy one's own family. In fact, sometimes it is not a good thing to think from a higher position that is not in line with your own position, because you will be incompatible with the people next to you. Therefore, Uchiha Itachi only has Uchiha Shisui as a good friend because of Uchiha Shisui's fire. There are certain similarities between his will and his thoughts. What Uchiha Chushin did was to separate the family from the village, so that the village and the family could avoid conflicts, so that the two geniuses of the family would not fall into conflict. As for their future affairs, we will talk about it slowly. At this time, Uchiha Chushin keenly felt a kind of fluctuation, as if a drop of water dropped into a calm water surface, causing a ripple. Chushin had a clever idea and quickly looked towards Uchiha Shisui. As if he had witnessed a miracle, Uchiha Chushin watched Uchiha Shisui's body lying there quietly, his body stiffened, and his face looked lifeless. A discerning person could tell at a glance that he was a dead man, but right there in the blink of an eye, the corpse lying there has disappeared, and an identical, rosy-faced, living person appears next to you, and this person is still looking at you with a smile. Uchiha Itachi felt something strange about Uchiha Chushin, looked in the direction of his gaze, and his body immediately froze there. Seeing that Uchiha Shisui was alive again without any side effects, Uchiha Chushin's heart was finally relieved. Although he was confident that Izanagi could resurrect Uchiha Shisui, after all, he had learned from Uchiha Madara's mistakes. But knowing is one thing, worrying is another. Seeing Uchiha Shisui looking at him with a smile, Uchiha Chushin couldn't hold it back. He strode over and opened his arms, hugged the fool who worried him, and patted him hard a few times, but Uchiha Shisui did not resist and allowed Uchiha Chushin to move. After all, he has died once. Only those who have been on the verge of death know what it feels like. Moreover, when he accepted this plan, he was already prepared to fail in resurrection and die forever. After all, variables too many, such as being left in the root base by Shimura Danzo, then after his death, his Mangekyo Sharingan will definitely be dug out by Shimura Danzo, then Izanagi who was hidden in his eyes by Uchiha Chushin will not succeed. Also, who knows if Izanagi will be effective by then. After all, Izanagi is the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, so I don't know what the limit of this technique is. If Izanagi is resurrected after a while, I don't know if it will be exceeded. At that time, unless the Sharingan in Uchiha Hill is upgraded to Rinnegan and uses the Rinne Tensai technique, it will be possible to resurrect him. Therefore, Uchiha Shisui actually risked his life to implement Uchiha Chushin's plan, not only for Uchiha, but also because he trusted Uchiha Chushin, so he was willing to risk death to fight for a future for Uchiha. Uchiha Shisui can be resurrected this time. Not only Chushan is very excited, Shisui himself is also very excited, so he allows Chushan to vent. Seeing Uchiha Shisui's resurrection, Uchiha Itachi had already broken his calm expression. His face was filled with excitement, and his lips were trembling slightly. He wanted to say something, but he opened his mouth several times, but nothing happened. Speak up. In front of the people you care about, you can't always be calm as water. From the fact that Uchiha Itachi opened Mangekyo in response to the death of Uchiha Shisui, we can see the position of Shisui in Uchiha Itachi's heart. After Uchiha Shisui hugged Chushan to vent, he crossed Chushan and came to Uchiha Itachi. Seeing Uchiha Itachi's excited expression and eyes containing strong emotions, like Chushan, he spread his arms and hugged her hard. Uchiha Itachi. When everything calmed down, Uchiha Shisui looked at Uchiha Chushin and asked with concern, "How is the plan going?" Nothing went wrong, right? When Uchiha Itachi heard that Shisui was about to discuss the plan with Uchiha Chushin, he asked in a measured manner, "Well, do I need to avoid it?" Uchiha Chushin looked at Shisui's expectant eyes, then looked at Uchiha Itachi's somewhat overwhelmed look, and said angrily, "I originally asked you to keep awake for Shisui because I was going to tell you our plan, but I won't do it next time." A kunai was pointed at me. Uchiha Itachi was quite happy to hear that he could stay, but when Chushan said that he pointed a kunai at him, he touched his nose in embarrassment and his eyes drifted in other directions. Seeing that Uchiha Itachi was a little embarrassed, Uchiha Chushin did not hold on, but told Uchiha Shisui about the progress of the plan. Third Hokage has agreed to the relocation of our Uchiha clan, but the price is to let me go to Anbu. I originally wanted to take this opportunity to kill Shimura Danzo, but he used Izanagi to avoid it. I didn't expect that Danzo not only secretly transplanted Sharingan, but also knew Uchiha's forbidden technique. Third Hokage was at the scene at the time, so in order to avoid causing complications, I did not pursue him further. Uchiha Shisui nodded, expressing understanding. Uchiha Chushin paused, and then said, "Because even if the Uchiha clan relocates, there is no condition to buy a school for the time being, so I simply ask the third Hokage to agree to Uchiha's relocation on the condition that the children of the Uchiha clan stay in school. And the parents of these children will also stay and take care of their children." Uchiha Shisui breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that the plan was going smoothly, because he not only loved his family, but also loved the village where he grew up. If it hadn't been for the irreconcilable conflicts between the family and the village, he would have been in trouble for both sides. After being hurt, he agreed and assisted the Uchiha clan to move out. Uchiha Chushin took a sip of water, and then said with a smile, "When we were implementing the plan, there was an unexpected surprise. This kid Uchiha Itachi awakened Mangekyo Sharingan because of your death." Uchiha Shisui heard what Chushan said and looked at Uchiha Itachi. As a person who has experienced it, he knows how much sadness is needed to open Mangekyo Sharingan, just like Uchiha Obito directly refused because of Lin's death. Accepting the whole world and creating a world with Lin, one can imagine how deep and pure his feelings for Shisui must be since Uchiha Itachi opened the Mangekyo Sharingan because of Shisui's death. Uchiha Shisui looked into Uchiha Itachi's eyes, with a smile on his lips, and nodded slightly. "Itachi, thank you, and I'm sorry. Thank you for his feelings, sorry for your concern for him." Of course Uchiha Itachi understood, and shook his head slightly. "It doesn't matter, as long as Shisui is alive, and it is a blessing in disguise for me to open Mangekyo Sharingan." Uchiha Chushin watched the interaction between the two, waited for a while, clapped his hands, and attracted their attention. Okay, the time for reminiscing has passed. We still have business to do and want to chat. Later there is plenty of time. Seeing the two people looking over, Chushan said, Shisui, it's not convenient for you to go out now. I packed Ichiraku ramen for you too. Eat it while it's still warm. Pack up your things after eating. I'm already looking for you outside. I've found a good place, and I'll send you there before dawn. Seeing the confused looks on the two people's faces, Uchiha Chushin simply explained about Uzumaki Island and his pupil technique, Takamagahara, but he did not have the idea of giving the space mark to Shisui and Uchiha Itachi as he could run away at the critical moment. Uchiha's trump card is that Uchiha Chushin does not intend to give the space mark to anyone except those whom he completely trusts. If you don't see it, it was because Uchiha Obito gave one of his Sharingan to Kakashi that after his identity was exposed, Kamui had a flaw and made him very passive. Otherwise, with Kamui's magical skill that can be called a bug, Uchiha it would be no problem for Obito to escape intact. Only then did Uchiha Itachi realize that the other ramen packaged by Uchiha Chushin was for brother Shisui. At that time, he saw Uchiha Chushin bring 2 portions of ramen and thought there was one of Uchiha Chushin's ramen. Uchiha Shisui was not polite. He called Uchiha Itachi, took the ramen, and ate it in his morning hall. There were no outsiders here. If he had seen him after he arrived, he should have been lying there quietly. The man was eating ramen enthusiastically next to him, and he didn't know how frightened he would be. Uchiha Itachi also let go. Anyway, he had already humiliated others and didn't care about it anymore. He seemed to be competing with Shisui and started eating quickly. Unlike Uchiha Chushin, the two of them are not the kind of people with big appetites. After eating a large portion of ramen, they were already full. Uchiha Chushin didn't talk nonsense. After the two of them finished eating, after that, together with Uchiha Itachi, I helped Uchiha Shisui pack all the things that needed to be taken away from home, and then put them in his space. After Shisui arrived at Uzumaki Island, I gave him the things. As a single man, Uchiha Shisui didn't have much to pack, except for his own things, which were some ninjutsu scrolls, books and ninja tools left by his parents and elders at home, so he packed them up quickly. In the end, Uchiha Shisui had, in addition to the equipment for the usual missions, the things that were packed were handed over to Uchiha Chushin. After all, Shisui also had a mission to go to Uzumaki Island this time. These things will be taken from Uchiha Chushin after they are arranged on Uzumaki Island. After everything was done, Uchiha Chushin looked at Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi, who were ready to go, and confirmed again, Uchiha Itachi, are you sure you want to accompany Shisui to Uzumaki Island? You know, the reason why I am anxious to send Shisui away in the past, they were afraid that the news of Shisui's fake death would be known to the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo, and to avoid causing more trouble, they sent Shisui there and asked him to go to the Uzumaki Island to explore the way first, and wait for the clan leader and the great elder to organize the first batch of people to go to the Uzumaki Island. It will take at least 3 days for people on the island. And Uchiha Itachi seems to have put his mind on the clan after knowing that the Uchiha clan was leaving Konoha village. After all, he is still young and his ideological consciousness has not yet reached the level where the clan will be exterminated a few years later, and he has not been killed by the third Hokage. Focusing on and brainwashing Shimura Danzo, he now knows that his beloved Shisui brother is going to Uzumaki Island to prepare for the relocation of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Itachi is also a little eager to try and wants to go to Uzumaki Island with Uchiha Shisui. Uchiha Itachi was not impatient when he heard Uchiha Chushin asked again, but nodded again, Brother Chushin, you can rest assured that Brother Shisui is with me. Besides, I have activated the Mangekyo Sharingan, and my fighting power is absolutely you're not weak, you should be able to help Brother Shisui. Uchiha Chushin heard what Uchiha Itachi said, and suddenly thought that in the original work, Uchiha Itachi seemed to be in poor health in the later stages. It may be that Mangekyo Sharingan was started too early, which caused too much burden on the body. This is also the cause of most blood diseases. The reason is that the body has not yet fully developed and cannot withstand such a powerful blood inheritance. He quickly instructed, Uchiha Itachi, your Mangekyo Sharingan is turned on too early. Don't use it frequently, which will increase the burden on your body. Otherwise, your body will not be able to bear it. Shisui, you also look at him. Remember, Sharingan can be used, but Mangekyo should be used as little as possible. Uchiha Chushin felt relieved when he saw both Shisui and Itachi nodded. Chushin estimated that in the original work, the reason why Uchiha Itachi's body became seriously ill was also related to Uchiha Itachi not cherishing his own body. After all, no matter how mature Uchiha Itachi is also a young man who is not very old. He was charged with genocide at a young age and personally killed his parents. If he didn't have a younger brother to take care of, he probably would have wanted to die a long time ago, so he wouldn't care for his body. When his body was overdrawn and injured, he should also have a mentality of atonement. Over time, plus last time, he was out undercover alone. When encountering troubles and battles, he could only carry them by himself. It was not surprising that he would become extremely ill. However, just in case, both the Uchiha clan after the relocation and Uchiha Itachi's body need a medical ninja with superb medical skills. When thinking of medical ninjas, the first thing Uchiha Chushin thinks of is the broad-minded Tsunade and the gentle and kind Yakushi Nanoyu. Judging by the time, Yakushi Nanoyu should not have been killed by Danzo yet, so if possible, you can save him. The most important thing is Tsunade. With her broad mind, Yamato is so turbulent that no one will be confused after seeing her. Moreover, Tsunade is the princess of the Senju clan. She has the purest blood of the Senju clan. Regardless of her natural physical strength and extraordinary people's powerful vitality is the object of Uchiha Chushin's covetousness. If the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan merged, would the children born have the potential to grow into the Sage of Six Paths? Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin secretly made up his mind. Just in case, Tsunade must be invited to the Uchiha clan to check Uchiha Itachi's body. If she is unwilling to come, she can make appropriate changes and use other methods. Invite her over. Uchiha Chushin sighed secretly. Oh, I am really worried about the Uchiha family. After Uchiha Chushin once again confirmed that Uchiha Itachi was going to Uzumaki Island with Shisui, he stopped talking nonsense, stretched out his hands and put them on their shoulders, activated the pupil technique, Takamagahara, and led the two people to pause in the space. He activated the pupil technique again and brought the two of them directly to the Whirlpool Island through the space mark left on the Whirlpool Island. After Uchiha Chushin brought Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi to Uzumaki Island, he gave them a few simple instructions and threw them the living supplies he had prepared in the space before, which were enough for them to use for the past few days. After staying and saying goodbye, we returned to the space of Takamagahara. After sending Shisui and Uchiha Itachi away, Uchiha Chushin finally breathed a sigh of relief. After painstaking planning and layout, he finally saved these two geniuses of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Shisui did not die, Mangekyo Sharingan was not snatched away by Danzo, and Uchiha Itachi would not be coerced by Danzo to destroy the Uchiha clan. He himself became a rebellious nin who was despised by everyone, and finally died miserably. Uchiha Chushin took a rest in the Takamagahara space. Although his system helped him minimize the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique, such frequent use still made Uchiha Chushin feel a little uncomfortable. Well, let's use it one last time, Uchiha Chushin said to himself after entering the house in the space. Then, Uchiha Chushin silently felt the space mark and found the one belonging to Uchiha Makoto. Then Chushin activated the space mark. Then, a slim figure wearing light pajamas and still sleeping appeared without warning. Appeared on the tatami in front of Uchiha Okuyama. After this person has worked hard and achieved success, it is not too much to reward himself a little. Uchiha Chushin looked at Uchiha Makoto appearing in front of him and thought silently in his heart. This is also a wonderful use of space mark. Since this space mark is marked on a person and integrated with the person, since Uchiha Makoto can come to Takamagahara space by activating the space mark, then, Uchiha Makoto, as the master of this space, by activating the mark, it is natural to summon Makoto-san into this space. Since I have been busy with Uzumaki Island and Uchiha Shisui this week, and Uchiha Itachi also finished his mission and went home, except for the time when Sister Makoto came to see him, Uchiha Chushin was not there during this period. Look for Uchiha Makoto again to complete the major events in life. Now, Uchiha Shisui has been rescued, and the Uchiha clan has also left Konoha according to his plan. The rest of the things are not important, as long as they follow the steps. Therefore, Uchiha Choshin naturally called Uchiha Makoto to reminisce about the past. At the same time, it was also in response to the recent call of the Uchiha clan to have more children and strengthen the Uchiha clan. And Uchiha Makoto woke up a little when he was summoned by Chushan. After all, he could still feel that there was a quilt missing from his body. Uchiha Makoto drowsily propped up his upper body, and the waves under his loose pajamas became increasingly apparent. He half asleep looked at the person who appeared in front of him. Makoto breathed a sigh of relief when she saw it was Uchiha Chushin. Ever since she got together with Chihashin-kun, Uchiha Makoto always slept alone at night. A person appeared in front of her at night, which also shocked her. Uchiha Makoto rubbed his eyes and asked confusedly, "Is there anything wrong with Mr. Chushin coming to see me so late?" It was rare for Uchiha Chushin to see the confused Makoto. He also smiled. He quickly took off his clothes, stepped forward and hugged Makoto, buried his head in Makoto's neck, took a deep breath, and smelled Sister Makoto's body fragrance. She replied in a sullen voice, "I missed Sister Makoto, so I came here." Uchiha Makoto was hugged by Chushan, and he also hugged him with his back, but said in a somewhat sad tone, "I also miss Chushan, but this kid Itachi has been in the village these days. This kid is too sharp. I slept in a separate room from Fugaku, and he knew it. Fortunately, Fugaku helped me cover up, so he didn't suspect me." Seeing that Uchiha Makoto was still worried, Uchiha Chushin couldn't help but kiss her on the lips and said with a smile, "You little confused, look where you are now." After Uchiha Chushin's reminder, Uchiha Makoto looked at the furnishings of the room carefully and found that he had been summoned to his space by Chushin-kun. Uchiha Makoto also breathed a sigh of relief when he saw her here. While kissing Chushan, he complained, "Chushan knows how to tease me and brought me here quietly. Since you have this well, then why didn't you call me here earlier? Or, Mr. Chushan is tired of me after all." Uchiha Chushin looked at Uchiha Makoto, who seemed to be possessed by a drama queen. He didn't expect that Sister Makoto still had this side. Although he knew that she was just pretending, Chushin quickly comforted him and said that he was really busy recently and did not miss Sister Makoto. But when comforting, Uchiha Chushin's hands kept wandering around Uchiha Makoto's body as if they had their own thoughts. The two were tired of each other for a while, and Uchiha seemed to have remembered something. He smiled and said to Sister Makoto, who was relying on him and couldn't get up, "Sister Makoto, I forgot to tell you some good news. Itachi asked me to send him away to carry out the execution with Shisui. The mission is over. You don't have to worry that he will notice something is wrong with you." Although Uchiha Makoto didn't care about the Uchiha clan's affairs, as the clan leader's wife, she still had good information channels. He asked curiously, "Didn't Uchiha Shisui get killed by Danzo? And didn't Itachi take the initiative to keep Shisui's wake today? Why is it that not only Shisui is not dead, but he and Itachi were also sent out on a mission by you?" Uchiha Chushin hugged Sister Makoto and told Makoto about the things he had done recently. After Uchiha Makoto finished talking about the matter, he also said to Uchiha Chushin with a sly expression, "Chushin-kun, I also want to tell you some good news." Uchiha Choshin saw Sister Makoto's expression and asked with some uncertainty, "Sister Makoto is pregnant? Or do you feel sick and want to vomit?" Makoto shook his head. "Not yet, how could it be so fast?" Then, Uchiha Makoto blushed and whispered in Uchiha Chushin's ear, "These days are the lucky days for my sister. As long as Chushin-kun works harder these days, my sister will be inseparable." Uchiha Chushin is no longer ignorant. Of course he understands what Makoto-san means. He couldn't help but hug Makoto's arm tightly and confirmed again, "Makoto-san, is it true?" Uchiha Makoto blushed and nodded shyly, but said no more. Seeing Makoto-san's shy expression, and thinking about what Makoto-san had just told him, Uchiha Chushin could no longer control himself and pounced on her. On this uninhabited island that belongs to another dimension, Uchiha Makoto and Uchiha Makoto are completely free. No one here can disturb them. In addition, Uchiha Makoto's lightning-style armor has been improved recently. Therefore, Uchiha Makoto, who was killed, was defeated after repeated defeats. After repeated defeats, he was defeated and begged loudly for mercy. Uchiha Makoto tried his best to fulfill Chu Shanjin's wish and give birth to a child of theirs. He did not accept failure and resisted many times. Although he was suppressed by Chu Shanjin again, he also got the spoils of war. Neither of them are easy-going people, so the battle was very fierce until Uchiha Chushin used his newly learned ultimate move, lightning-style armor, which not only accelerated his attack speed, but also the small bright blue electricity on Uchiha Chushin's body would call Uchiha Makoto from time to time. This kind of stimulation directly caused Uchiha Makoto to collapse, and he no longer had the ability to resist. In the end, it was Uchiha Chushin who held him in his arms to prevent him from going limp. After the two of them had enjoyed themselves, they packed up and came out of the space, but the sky was already bright. After Uchiha Makoto saw that it was dawn, he said hello to Mr. Chushan and hurriedly went to prepare breakfast. Although Uchiha Makoto no longer has a relationship with Uchiha Fugaku, she still has 2 children. For the sake of her children, she must play her role as a good wife and mother. Of course, if Mr. Chushan wanted her to leave this home and be with him, she would choose Mr. Chushan without hesitation. After Uchiha Choshin and sister Makoto separated, they were not idle. The inheritance of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Choshin, had been obtained from the great elder Uchiha Ling. However, there is still a time bomb hidden in the Uchiha clan. It was this time bomb that caused Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama to part ways, leading to the subsequent Ninja World War. And this time bomb is a stone tablet hidden in Nanga Shrine. Legend has it that this stone tablet was left by the Sage of Six Paths and was collected by the Uchiha family from generation to generation. It hides the truth of the world, so the Uchiha family has always treasured this stone tablet. And this stone tablet is indeed magical. As the level of Sharingan gets higher and higher, you can see more and more content. At that time, as Uchiha Madara and the generation of Hokage Senju Hashirama had more and more differences, and when they could no longer bear it, Uchiha Madara found a very extreme solution from this stone tablet handed down from the Sage of Six Paths, Project Tasuki no Mi. To say that Uchiha Madara is also a genius of the ninja world. If it were not for Senju Hashirama who appeared at the same time as him, Uchiha Madara could be said to have suppressed the ninja world for an era. However, it may be that Uchiha Madara is a perfectionist and sees that the idea of establishing a village by his close friend Hokage Senju Hashirama is useless, which will only lead to the escalation of war in this world. It was originally just a war and struggle between clans with different surnames. After the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan joined hands with other small clans to establish Konoha village, their strength increased greatly, causing other countries to follow suit and join forces to establish ninja villages. After entering the ninja village and increasing their strength, if a war breaks out between various countries, it will evolve into a world war in the ninja world. By then, both civilians and ninjas will be affected. And once a war breaks out, it will eventually turn into a shortage of personnel, and children of a few years old who know how to order 3-body technique will go to the battlefield. Uchiha Itachi is an example. It should be said that Uchiha Madara's vision was very accurate. He had a premonition of this result, so he could not accept it and wanted to make changes. Senju Hashirama's philosophy is different from that of Uchiha Madara. Only Uchiha Madara would run away. The Uchiha clan was greedy for the hard-won peace, so they did not leave Konoha village with their clan leader Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara relied on the method of world peace that he saw on the stone tablet left by Sage of Six Paths, Project Tasuki no Mi. This is also the reason why Uchiha Madara later fought with Senju Hashirama. He needed Senju Hashirama's flesh and blood to be integrated into his body to form the power of all things. Only by opening the Rinnegan, which is only available in Sage of Six Paths, can 10 Tails be summoned, body so that Project Tasuki no Mi can be launched. But Uchiha Chushin knew that the content of this stone tablet was modified by Black Zetsu, the third son of Otsutsuki Kagaya before he was sealed, and Black Zetsu's purpose was to open the Eye of the Moon and resurrect his mother Otsutsuki Kagaya. So, Uchiha Madara was deceived by Black Zetsu and wanted world peace, but was taken advantage of by Black Zetsu. Therefore, In order to reduce trouble and prevent those tribesmen who have opened the Mangekyo Sharingan from thinking about it, including Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi, who have not yet had time to discover the contents of the stone tablet, Uchiha Chushin decided to pull the plug and move the stone tablet directly. Put it in his space so that no one can touch this stone monument again. Nanga Shrine is the place where the Uchiha clan holds clan meetings and worships their ancestors. Although it is a solemn place for the Uchiha clan, because there is nothing valuable inside, the Uchiha clan does not send anyone to guard it. Before, Uchiha Choshin actually came to Nanga Shrine to pay homage to this stone tablet, but at that time Uchiha Choshin was still 3 Tomo Sharingan. He looked left and right in front of this stone tablet and almost stared at 3 Tomo Sharingan cross-eyed. I didn't see the above content either. After becoming Mangekyo Sharingan, he has been busy saving Uchiha's genocide tragedy and Shisui's life, and he was well aware of the above content, so he did not come to see it. Now, the Uchiha clan is preparing to move. The great elders will definitely not leave this historic stone tablet here. Uchiha Chushin decided to take the first step and move the stone tablet into space first, and then wait. When the great elder asks him for something, he will find another fake piece for them. As for this piece of trouble, let it lie in the space forever. Uchiha Hill strolled to Nanga Shrine in the early morning sunshine. Not many people usually come here, and this morning, there was no one at all. Uchiha Choshin came to the stone tablet and opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. After seeing the content on the stone tablet, Uchiha Choshin curled his lips. It was almost as he expected, and there was no unexpected content. The above briefly introduces the origin of the ninja world, the spread of chakra, the Otsutsuki clan, the sacred tree and the fruit of the sacred tree, the sage of 6 paths sealing the rampaging 10 tails, etc., as well as the evolution of the Uchiha clan Sharingan and how to evolve the Mangekyo Sharingan. Method for Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. In fact, Uchiha Choshin is skeptical about this method. Tracing back to the source, Indra, the eldest son of Sage of 6 Paths, only had one younger brother, Ashura. Not to mention whether Ashura would gouge his eyes for his brother, the key is that Ashura inherited Sage of 6 Paths. It was a sage body without a Sharingan, which meant that there was no second pair of Mangekyo Sharingan for Indra to make him an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Moreover, Indra's Mangekyo was not blind at that time. It can be seen that the evolution of Mangekyo Sharingan into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is not the only way to transplant a blood relative's Mangekyo. Besides, with the status and structure of Sage of 6 Paths, it is impossible for the Uchiha clan to leave this path of evolution full of blood and pain. It can be seen from this that Mangekyo Sharingan can evolve into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan by himself, and the method left on the stone tablet is probably a simple and crude method left by Black Zetsu to the Uchiha clan in order to implement his plan, and the conditions are low. Methods. It can be seen from Uchiha Choshin's system that it can only lower the threshold and reduce side effects, but it cannot create something out of nothing. Therefore, the correct way to evolve from Mangekyo Sharingan to Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan should be that you have far more abilities than ordinary people. Only when the spiritual power and yin escape chakra meet the conditions for the evolution of Mangekyo can it be successfully evolved. Moreover, the 3 Tomo Sharingan evolved into the Mangekyo Sharingan and both had the eye technique. In the original novel, one of Uchiha Sasuke's eyes evolved into a Rinnegan and also received the eye technique. So, when Mangekyo evolved into the Eternal Mangekyo, he should also have the eye technique, I guess. It's because they evolved in the wrong way and took shortcuts, so they didn't awaken the new pupil technique. It should be said that Uchiha is worthy of being the oldest family in the ninja world. Although the founder of the family, Indra, fell out with Sage of 6 Paths and Ashura, except for the position of successor of the ninja sect, Sage of 6 Paths gave Indra no benefit at all. Nothing less. Finally, in order to guide Indra's descendants, a stone tablet recording the evolution of Sharingan was left to the Uchiha clan. It should be that Uchiha Uyama's Sharingan level is not enough. Uchiha Uyama still hasn't seen the content on the stone tablet about how Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan evolved into Rinnegan and about Project Tsuki no Mi. Those contents should be that Sharingan evolved to Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, can only be seen when the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Choshin has reached the peak of Mangekyo Sharingan and is close to touching the realm of Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Therefore, when Chushin is running the Sharingan at full capacity, you can still see the vague writing on the stone tablet, but the content cannot be seen. I'm not sure, but I guess it's the content left behind by Black Zetsu pretending to be Sage of Six Paths. Being able to see blurred handwriting is also because the pupil power of Uchiha Okuyama's Mangekyo Sharingan is far greater than that of normal Mangekyo Sharingan. Since he can't see clearly now, he will look at it later. Anyway, his Sharingan is about to reach the eternal Mangekyo. Uchiha Chushin did not hesitate anymore and directly revealed Susanoo's skeleton arm, uprooted the stone tablet, and then threw it away in a corner of the space island. After moving this stone monument, Uchiha Makoto's purpose of coming to Nanga Shrine was completed. After visiting the shrine, Uchiha Makoto guessed that Uchiha Makoto had already prepared breakfast, so Uchiha Makoto was not polite and came directly to her home. Eat breakfast. But it wasn't Uchiha Chushin who wanted to come. After all, he was still a little embarrassed facing Uchiha Fugaku now. It was because Uchiha Fugaku had something to discuss with him and asked Sister Makoto to invite him. Uchiha Makoto simply invited him over for breakfast. Uchiha Chushin also asked Uchiha Fugaku and the Great Elder to discuss the list of the first group of tribesmen to go to Whirlpool Island, so he agreed. When Uchiha Chushin arrived at the Patriarch's house, he happened to catch up with Uchiha Makoto who had prepared breakfast. After saying hello to Uchiha Fugaku and Makoto's sister, and nodding towards the curious little boy Uchiha Sasuke, Uchiha Chushin enjoyed a hearty breakfast at the Patriarch's house. After eating breakfast, Uchiha Fugaku brought Chushan into the living room, but what was different from the past was that Uchiha Makoto and their son Sasuke also came to the living room. After Uchiha Fugaku sat down at the main seat, he first took a sip of tea, and then said seriously to Uchiha Chushin. The reason I invited Mr. Chushan here this time is because I want Mr. Chushan to be Sasuke's teacher. Firstly, it's because Sasuke has reached school age and needs the guidance of a good teacher. Although Sasuke's talent is not as good as his brother's, it still counts. A talent that can be created. Chusan-kun is the #1 master of our Uchiha clan. There is no more suitable candidate than Chusan-kun. Secondly, our Uchiha clan is preparing to relocate recently. As the clan leader, I must go there to take charge of the overall situation. Only with me here can the clan members feel at ease. Chu Shanjin was left by the third Hokage to join Anbu. Usually I am not here. When they were young, I still hoped that Mr. Chushan could help their mother and son from time to time. Quote. After saying that, Uchiha Fugaku entered the meeting without giving any rebuttal to Chushan, and directly bowed his head to Uchiha Chushan. Please, Chushan-kun. Uchiha Chushin didn't expect that Uchiha Fugaku came to him because of this matter. Although he didn't like Uchiha Sasuke in the original work very much, it was also because Sasuke had experienced the annihilation of his tribe and the murder of his parents by his brother, and he had been avenged since he was a child. Filled with ideas, his character is distorted and certainly not likable. However, as the reincarnation of Indra, Uchiha Sasuke's talent is actually quite good, and because Indra's chakra is in his body, his future achievements will not be much lower. As for his personality, Uchiha looked at the confused little Sasuke and said that he can still be trained in the future. Uchiha Chushin believes that there is no such thing as a child who cannot be trained well, as long as you are reluctant to do it. Besides, Sasuke is still a lovable little boy. I believe that he has never experienced genocide and the death of his parents. Uchiha Sasuke's character shouldn't be distorted in any way. Uchiha Chushin looked at Uchiha Makoto who looked expectant, then at the confused little Sasuke and Fugaku who was still lowering his head. He stopped pretending to be reserved and agreed directly. Uchiha Chushan nodded. Since the clan leader thinks highly of me and asks me to be Sasuke's teacher, if I refuse, I will be a bit ungrateful. Clan leader, don't worry, Sasuke will be left to me from now on. This teacher is not an irresponsible teacher like Kakashi who is appointed by the village, but a teacher who is responsible for the lives of his disciples, teaches his disciples, and regards his disciples as his successors. It can be said that this teacher is the second best to his disciples. Due to the existence of parents, this disciple's status is not much different from that of the teacher's children. However, Uchiha Chushin agreed and would be responsible to the end, training Sasuke to become a strong man, instead of being matured by Uchiha Itachi and Orochimaru like in the original work, and becoming a more hip-reaching existence at critical moments. Uchiha Fugaku was very happy to see that Uchiha Chushin agreed, and quickly organized an apprenticeship ceremony for Sasuke to become his apprentice. Finally, Sasuke served tea to Uchiha Chushin, and Uchiha Chushin presented a well-made tachi that he carried with him. Sasuke, this is the completion of the apprenticeship ceremony. After little Sasuke became a disciple, Uchiha Chushin did not rush to train him. After all, he was still too young. Training and extracting chakra too early would be bad for future development. When Sasuke started to go to school, it would not be too late to train him. After everything was settled here, Uchiha Chushin and Uchiha Fugaku came to the home of the great elder Uchiha Ling. As the two actual leaders of the Uchiha clan, the relocation and arrangement of the clan must be properly arranged. It is impossible, just move it all at once, at least it will take several times to complete the move. The first team is responsible for the site selection of the tribe, the environment around the new tribe and the cleanup of wild animals. There are not many people in this team. Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi are actually doing what the first team has to do, but they still don't have enough people, so they need to send people to assist them. The people in the second echelon are responsible for the construction of the clan area, so they are mostly people who are good at earth style and people with construction experience. Of course, it would be better if there is Yamato who is good at wood style, 3 bedrooms and 1 living room technique. It's a pity that the third Hokage will not release people. Besides, even if the third Hokage releases people, Uchiha Chushin will not use it. This will not only expose his eye technique to Kamawara, but also expose the new clans the location was leaked. Of course, Uchiha Chushin did not expect to be able to hide the Uchiha clan's new clan territory forever. However, if he could hide it for one more day, Uchiha would have one more day of preparation and construction time. Don't forget that behind the Uchiha clan's annihilation, it was not only Shimura Danzo. Uchiha Obito and Black Zetsu are secretly watching, so moving the tribe to the island is to isolate White Zetsu, who is good at earth style and wood style, as much as possible. By the time the Uchiha clan is discovered by them, the Uchiha clan should have already taken protective measures. As long as they don't send Tendo Pain over and come with a Super Shinra Tensei, it's probably not a big problem. The people in the third echelon are most of the members of the clan. They mainly carry a large amount of materials and personnel to ensure the normal operation of the Uchiha clan. In fact, there is still a fourth echelon, and the fourth echelon is responsible for finishing things. However, the Uchiha clan has not fallen out with Konoha village yet. Moreover, there are still children from the Uchiha clan studying in the ninja school, so some clan members need to be kept in Konoha village, to maintain the superficial peace with the village. Uchiha Chushin and Uchiha Fugaku came to the elder's house to discuss and formulate the list of the first echelon. Because Uchiha used to be the security team responsible for the security of Konoha village, so for the sake of the peaceful handover of the security team, the village and the third Hokage were not given. It's not easy to find someone, so as not to cause trouble for Uchiha, the candidate must be chosen well. In fact, the people who discussed and made the list here were mainly Uchiha Fugaku and the great elder Uchiha Ling. Although Uchiha Chushin is stronger than them combined, but there are specialties in the art, in this aspect, Uchiha Chushin is still inferior, far away. Uchiha Fugaku and the great elder were discussing various aspects, while Uchiha Chushin stood beside him and listened boredly. It's not that he doesn't want to leave, but as Uchiha's top combat power and with huge development potential, both the great elder and the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku are cultivating him intentionally or unintentionally. Regardless of whether he is willing or not, as long as he learns more, he will always be better in the future. Be useful. Don't think that you can be the leader just because you are strong. It's like asking Uzumaki Naruto to be the Hokage. He was already the strongest person in the ninja world at that time, but why did you want Kakashi to be the Hokage for a few years first? In these few years train Uzumaki Naruto into a qualified Hokage in all aspects. After Uchiha Fugaku and the great elder agreed on the list, Uchiha Chushin couldn't bear it anymore and couldn't wait to say goodbye and leave. Uchiha Chushin understands in his heart that in this world, strength is still respected. As long as your strength can reach the level of the first generation Hokage and Uchiha Madara, everything else is trivial. Therefore, the most important thing for him now is to cultivate his body so that his physical strength can reach the minimum standard required by Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. With his own mental strength, which is much stronger than others, and the surge due to copying multiple pupil techniques, with the eye power and yin attribute chakra, Mangekyo Sharingan's transformation will definitely be completed easily. Uchiha Chushin knew in his heart that, in fact, there was a simpler way that could bring his physical strength up to standard and transform his Mangekyo Sharingan into Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. That is to go to Yamato and use the copying eye to learn to copy Yamato's wood style. Yamato is the only wood style ninja in Konoha village at this stage. Although his wood style is an incomplete version, since his wood style can be used against Uzumaki Naruto's, the fact that Nine Tails works shows that his wood style still has some essence of Senju Hashirama. If Uchiha Choshin learns Yamato's wood style through the Eye of Replication, that is to say, he has learned the incomplete version of Sage Body. Although the incomplete version of Sage Body cannot allow Uchiha Choshin to directly possess Rinnegan, it can still strengthen Uchiha Choshin. Constitution, increasing the vitality of his body. Wood style chakra can also promote the transformation of Uchiha Hill Mangekyo Sharingan into Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. However, Uchiha Choshin does not intend to do this. Whether you call him pretentious or stupid, he just wants to solidify his foundation and temper his will through his own hard training so that he can go further. After all, his recent strength has come too easily, and it is easy for him to get carried away and lose his vigilance and aggressiveness. Uchiha Chushin did not go anywhere else. After all, no matter how secretive the place is, it is not as safe as in his own space. And as the master of the space, even if Uchiha Makoto comes to the space through the space mark, Uchiha Chushin can still sense it. The place where Uchiha Hill is trained is on a flat rock at the highest point of the island, because here you can see the most beautiful scenery of the island, and you can practice lightning-style armor on the rock. Since the rock is not conductive, you can use lightning style to the maximum extent. Stimulate cells throughout the body without worrying about the loss of thunder attribute chakra. Ever since Uchiha Choshin received the first stage of the lightning style armor from the rebel ninja Kojima Murao, he has never stopped practicing the lightning style armor on his body. The origin of the lightning style armor was later clarified through the interrogation of Kojima Murao. It was Kojima Murao's student who was killed by him and secretly took it home. Since his student possessed the relatively rare chakra with the natural thunder attribute, the student's father quietly mentioned it once to encourage him to practice hard, and this secret technique of lightning-style armor was obtained accidentally by his father on the battlefield. He did not expect that he would secretly take it out and show it off in front of Mr. Kojima. Mr. Kojima had an opportunity to take advantage of it, and he was kill people and seize treasures. In fact, his family still doesn't know that the secret technique of lightning-style armor was secretly taken out. They only thought that it was because of conflicts that Kojima killed his students. When Uchiha Choshin returned to the village to deliver the mission, he also said that he could not find Mr. Kojima. He suspected that Mr. Kojima had gone to sea and his whereabouts were unknown, causing the mission to fail. Uchiha Choshin came to the rock with ease, took off his shirt and shoes, sat cross-legged on it, closed his eyes, and silently ran the thunder attribute chakra, turning them into small electric currents, continuously stimulating his body. This kind of practice requires not only talent, but also endurance beyond ordinary people. After all, it is very painful to use electric current to continuously stimulate body cells and make them stronger. I saw some small electric currents flashing on Uchiha Chushin's body, crackling and crackling, while the muscles on his body were beating and twitching constantly. After a while, Uchiha Chushin's face showed sweat. After all, not only it's pain, and you have to concentrate in the pain to mobilize the current to accurately stimulate the corresponding location. As Uchiha Chushin's practice deepened, the electric current in his body increased more and more, and his body trembled more and more due to stimulation. From a distance, the dazzling electric current made it look like he was covered in bright clothes. Blue armor. After practicing for 2 hours, Uchiha Chushin stopped practicing. It was not that Uchiha Chushin didn't want to practice, but that if he continued to practice, it would cause damage to his body and the gain would outweigh the loss. And relying on Uchiha Chushin's own crude medical ninjutsu, it is impossible to repair this kind of cellular level damage caused by practice. If Uchiha Chushin had the body of a sage like Senju Hashirama, or the physique of the Uzumaki clan like Uzumaki Naruto, he would not be troubled like this. After all, the blood of the Uchiha clan has no bonus to the body's ability to recover. Or there is a medical ninja with superb medical skills, such as Tsunade or Yakushi, who can help Uchiha recover his body faster, so that he can practice the lightning-style armor as he likes and strengthen his body. When Uchiha felt a tingling sensation deep in his body, he knew that his body was reaching its limit. He sighed silently and slowly stopped practicing. Uchiha Chushin opened his eyes. After finishing his practice, he silently looked at the pleasant scenery in front of him with a calm expression on his face. After his trembling body recovered and ensured that his combat effectiveness had not declined, Uchiha Chushin put on his clothes and teleported directly out of the space. The training is over, and it's time to eat. Since Uchiha Chushin trained his body with lightning-style armor, his appetite has greatly increased. One person can eat the rations of 4 or 5 strong men, which is what people who open restaurants in Konoha village see. He is well informed and is used to seeing ninjas like the Akamaiki clan, otherwise he would have been surrounded by people. You can't often go to the clan leader and grand elder to get food. Uchiha Chushin goes to other people's homes to get food. If you let go of your own appetite to eat, then you are not here to get food, but to flip the table. Uchiha came to Konoha village's famous attraction Ichiraku Ramen again, and ordered several large portions of ramen. There was no choice. There was nothing delicious in the entire Konoha village, but the barbecue was delicious, and Uchiha didn't have the money to eat it all. After seeing Uchiha Chushin eat all the extra large ramen he ordered without changing his expression, even the well-informed little lowly Iris was a little bit dumbfounded when she saw her favorite big brother could eat so well, but still worried about whether he had enough to eat, and secretly added a lot of fried eggs and sausages to the bottom of Uchiha Chushin's bowl when Uncle Ichiraku wasn't paying attention. However, as his appetite increased, his body shape also underwent some obvious changes. Although Uchiha Chushin obtained the lightning-style armor and did not practice for a long time, it can be seen that Uchiha Chushin's body shape is different from before. A little stronger than before. If the previous body shape was similar to that of the adult Uchiha Itachi, a typical agile ninja and phantom ninja, then now it is developing into the body shape of Emperor Guy. Of course, in terms of taijutsu, it is far inferior to Emperor Guy. Moreover, Uchiha Chushin could feel that his body might have caught the little tail during the growth stage. Now under the stimulation of the lightning-style armor, he had the feeling of secondary growth, and he faintly felt that he had grown taller. Since Uchiha Chushin didn't want to get involved in the clan, whether it was formulating the list of first-tier teams, arranging personnel to prepare supplies, or handing over the positions and tasks of the guard team, it was really unavoidable, so he sent a shadow clone to help and observe, so Uchiha Chushin the time suddenly became empty. The clan doesn't need to take care of it themselves, just leave it to the Great Elder and Uchiha Fugaku. Once they gather the people, they can send them to Uzumaki Island themselves. As for the third Hokage, it's not time to report yet. Besides, even if he goes to report, I believe he will be a mascot, and he will be the link between Konoha village and the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan needs to be guarded against by the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo in Konoha village. They are afraid that Uchiha will rebel one day. Don't worry, the Uchiha clan, as the largest clan in the ninja world, has this strength. Since the Uchiha clan's blood inheritance limited Sharingan is also a Jonin, Uchiha Jonin with the 3 Tomo Sharingan will definitely be able to easily overwhelm ordinary Jonin, not to mention whether it can kill ordinary Jonin instantly. One of them. But now, the Uchiha clan and the Konoha village branch house are no longer the ones to guard against, but the wealthy nobles to win over. This is why Uchiha Chushin wants Uchiha to leave Konoha village. Although he left Konoha, the #1 ninja village in the ninja world, Uchiha may face the same dilemma as the Uzumaki clan. However, Uchiha Chushin believes in his own power more. If anyone wants to cause trouble, just drive Susanoo to the door of his village to block him. If he doesn't come out, I'm sorry, then I will go in to find you. What, you've got tens of thousands of ninjas to surround me, and they want to kill me just like third Hokage. Well, then, I'll use the Takamagahara space, leave the battlefield, and drive Susanoo to your village for fun. I really thought that I, Uchiha Choshin, agreed to the third Hokage to enter Anbu because I was afraid of him, rather than because I was greedy for the blood inheritance and secret techniques of Konoha village. I have not chatted with Yamato who knows wood style, nor have I found a chance to knock out Kakashi. Take a look. His Kamui Sharingan. I'm still waiting for the third Hokage to be killed by Orochimaru and talk about life ideals with the successor fifth Hokage. Therefore, with the current combat power of Uchiha Choshin, unless Uchiha Madara or the first generation Hokage Senju Hashirama is resurrected, others will really be unable to do anything to him. Of course, Uchiha Choshin cannot reveal all his trump cards. Although his abilities are very powerful, only the hidden trump cards are the trump cards. You may not have noticed that even the immortal duo of the Akatsuki organization were quite capable and had extremely strong survivability. However, after their trump card was discovered, they were still managed to kill them. Therefore, the trump card that has been hidden is the good trump card, and the enemy that is killed is the good enemy. Since Uchiha Choshin opened Mangekyo Sharingan until now, Uchiha Choshin has been hiding his trump cards and eye skills intentionally or unintentionally. People who think they understand him now actually only understand a limited part. If others knew that his pupil technique could copy and learn other people's blood inheritance limits and secret techniques, then his chances of success would drop to an absurd level, and he would also be affected by those families who are good at blood inheritance limits and secret techniques. The hostility of ninjas. Therefore, only when Uchiha Choshin relies on his own strength and stands on top of the world, and no one can do anything to him, is when he becomes unscrupulous and domineering. Instead of relying on those few-tailed beasts that can rebel at any time to become a Six Paths level existence. Things like tailed beasts can only become pets and tools. It is absolutely impossible to rely on them to become the cornerstone of one's own strength. Don't forget, Chakra from Sage of Six Paths is still wandering around in the ninja world. He still has the ability to give Naruto and Sasuke the ability to become Six Paths level combatants. Thinking back to the beginning, he separated the 9-tailed beasts from 10 tails. With the exhaustive style of Sage of Six Paths, it is difficult to say whether he had any tampering with the 9-tailed beasts. Not to mention Senju Hashirama's sage body, the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan has actually gone his own way, instead of just relying on the power passed to him by Indra from the Sage of Six Paths. Uchiha Choshin has had quite a fulfilling life these days. During the day, he divided several shadow clone to help and learn from the Great Elder and Uchiha Fugaku, while he hid in the space and practiced the lightning-style armor hard. When he was tired, he slipped out. Space, wander around Konoha village looking for delicious food. Since the Uchiha clan will be moving out recently, even the police force that they have been holding tightly in their hands is gradually being handed over. Therefore, neither the Hokage family nor the large and small families in Konoha village have anything to do with the Uchiha clan. Who knows whether the Uchiha clan was forced to leave Konoha village or willingly. To stimulate them at this time is not to find trouble for themselves, happy. And since Shimura Danzo was killed by Uchiha Choshin with Susanoo's sword, he has not come out to make trouble again, so he may be honest for a while. Therefore, although Uchiha Choshin wandered a lot in the streets and alleys of Konoha village, looking for delicious food everywhere, he never encountered any trouble. Uchiha Choshin no longer practices at night. A proper combination of work and rest can make practice more efficient. Instead, he takes out the book he got from the Great Elder and reads it when he has nothing to do to pass the time, just treat it as a long experience. And in the dead of night, Uchiha Choshin will summon Uchiha Makoto into the space, discuss the meaning of life with Sister Makoto, and then make his own contribution to the prosperity of the Uchiha clan. It takes a long time every time, but nothing else has changed. However, Uchiha Choshin found that after these few days of nourishment, Sister Makoto's whole person became more radiant than before, and she looked a little prettier, and even her eyes felt able to water drips. After several days of preparation, the Great Elder and clan leader finally prepared the first echelon of personnel and materials. One sunny morning, in the Nanga temple of the Uchiha clan, more than 100 Uchiha ninjas gathered quietly. Each of them is fully armed, with a heroic figure and firm eyes. They are all elites carefully selected by the Great Elder and Uchiha Fugaku, because the Whirlpool Island has been abandoned for many years, and it must now be filled with hordes of beasts and full of dangers. Therefore, the first batch of tribesmen sent there must be those with top-notch combat effectiveness and combat experience. In order to successfully complete this mission, the Great Elder has transferred all elites this time. Even many Jonin who hold important positions in the security force have been transferred here. The security force has to be handed over anyway, and if there is any chaos now, it will be chaos. Well, the future of the Uchiha clan is more important. The people who were transferred here are looking forward to this operation, because the Great Elder and clan leader have told them that this operation is to lay a good foundation for the relocation of the Uchiha clan. The news that the Uchiha clan was leaving Konoha village and moving out had long spread throughout the clan. The entire clan cheered for the Uchiha clan's relocation. They are not stupid. They have been miserable in Konoha village for these years. The people in the village do not regard them as one of their own and are hostile to them because of their duties as a police force. As a member of the Uchiha family, the #1 blood successor family in the ninja world, I also have my own pride. Nowadays, all the cats and dogs come to Uchiha to make their presence felt. Since you don't welcome us, we don't bother to be with you. We, the Uchiha clan, have been here alone for thousands of years. Do we still have to rely on you people who join groups for warmth and fight with each other? Now he is finally free from Konoha village, which was a burden to Uchiha. And the people of the Uchiha clan are holding their breath in their hearts. Without you, our Uchiha clan will live a better life. Uchiha Choshin looked at the neatly lined up clan members in front of him. His temperament was cold but silent. This was the elite of the Uchiha clan. At this size, he could walk sideways outside and destroy a small ninja village with ease. Things to do. Uchiha Chushin looked at Uchiha Fugaku standing at the front of the team and confirmed again, "Chief, are you sure you want to lead the team personally this time? You can definitely wait for the second and third echelons to go over." Uchiha Fugaku was also fully armed. After hearing Uchiha Chushin's words of dissuasion, he shook his head. "It concerns the future of our Uchiha clan. I must go and see it in person before I can rest assured. Chushin, you are now the #1 master of our Uchiha clan. As the deputy chief of Uchiha, you must shoulder your responsibilities. After I leave, the safety of the tribe here will be left to you. Don't act impulsively and discuss it with the great elders." Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's words, Uchiha Chushin was also a little speechless. Unexpectedly, he sent Shadow Clone to follow the Great Elder and clan leader to study for a few days, and then they placed him in the position of deputy clan leader. He also understood that after all, he is Uchiha now. If the top master of a clan has a low position or reputation, he will not be able to explain it to the outside world, and the clan will not feel safe. Seeing that he could not persuade Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Chushin agreed to him. After Uchiha Fugaku had made arrangements, Chushin looked at the neatly arranged people standing in front of him and said, "Relax your whole body and don't resist." With that said, Uchiha Chushin opened his Mangekyo Sharingan. The chakra all over his body rushed towards the Sharingan crazily, and Chihashin's Mangekyo Sharingan was also rotating at high speed. Eye technique, Takamagahara, activate. As the sight of Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Hills shifted, where it was looking, a member of the clan disappeared quietly without leaving any trace. After a short while, 100 people including Uchiha Fugaku, many people were transferred to the island in the Takamagahara space by Uchiha Okuyama. Chapter 51. Uchiha Choshin immediately closed his Mangekyo Sharingan after insisting on transferring the last Uchiha clansman to space. Although the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan have been reduced very little by the system, there are still some adverse reactions when used on a large scale. This is the first time for Uchiha Chushin to use it on such a large scale. He only feels that his eyes are extremely sore and his tears are gone. Controlled flow down. But fortunately, the side effects of Mangekyo have been reduced a lot, at least unlike the later Uchiha Itachi, whose eyes couldn't bear the use of Amaterasu and bled immediately after using it. Uchiha Chushin rubbed his eyes and felt that the soreness was much better. When he opened his eyes, he saw the Great Elder standing next to him looking at him with worried eyes. The clan leader led his clan members to expand their territory outside. As the Great Elder, of course he had to come to see them off. Uchiha Chushin saw the Great Elder looking at him and said, "Hello, Great Elder." The Great Elder Uchiha Ling looked at him worriedly. Although Mangekyo Sharingan is easy to use and very powerful, it cannot be used more than once. The more you use it, the faster your vision will blur, and you will eventually lose your vision and fall into eternal darkness. Quote. The Great Elder paused and then said, "And you don't have a biological brother. Even if you have one, he may not be able to awaken Mangekyo Sharingan, so you must cherish and use your Mangekyo Sharingan." Regarding the Great Elder's worries, Uchiha Chushin had no way to tell him that he had systematic help. Not only was there no danger of blindness, but he was about to evolve into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He could only console him. "Don't worry, Great Elder. I just feel my eyes are a little sore. And, so far, my Mangekyo Sharingan doesn't have any discomfort, let alone blurred vision." Hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, the Great Elder also breathed a sigh of relief. He only learned about the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan and the method of evolving into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan from the information passed down in the clan. He did not know how many years his vision would become blurred. It was clear that he was relieved to see that Uchiha Chushin did not have any adverse reactions. He had to pay attention to Uchiha Chushin. Although Uchiha Shisui also awakened Mangekyo Sharingan, there was still a gap compared with Uchiha Chushin. Uchiha Shisui could only barely use Susanoo, the divine power of Mangekyo Sharingan. To the first stage, skeleton. However, Uchiha Chushin was able to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan. In a short period of time, he directly passed the first two stages and directly entered Susanoo's third stage, fully armed armored giant. You know, Susanoo is currently only 4 stage, and the limit of Mangekyo Sharingan is the third stage. In the third stage, Susanoo can be said to be at the peak of Kage level, and can walk sideways in the ninja world. Originally, after the Great Elder knew that Uchiha Chushin had opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, he wanted to keep a low profile for a few years and give Uchiha Chushin a chance to grow up and let his Susanoo reach the second or third stage, so that the Uchiha clan would have a Kage. A strong person at the top of level can sit in Uchiha for 30 or 40 years. What the Great Elder didn't expect was that Uchiha Chushin's level of monster exceeded his imagination. In a short period of time, it reached a level that he expected to reach in several years. The more evil Uchiha Chushin is, the more the Great Elder feels it is a pity. Uchiha Chushin's talent is already comparable to, or surpasses, Uchiha Madara. If Uchiha Chushin also has a brother who has opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, the Great Elder will not be able to do it at all. There is no doubt that Uchiha Chushin's achievements will surpass that of the legendary Uchiha Madara, leading the Uchiha clan to unprecedented heights. Uchiha Chushin looked at the retreating figure of the Great Elder. He felt a little stooped and desolate inexplicably. Chushin touched his chin. Maybe it was because the Great Elder was not used to it when the clan leader left, so he felt a little emotional. Uchiha Chushin then put these things aside, rubbed his eyes that were still a little sore, activated Takamagahara, and entered the space himself. Due to the time difference between space and the outside world, it was still dark in the space. Uchiha Chushin saw only his tribe members standing quietly in the dark night. No one spoke or looked around. It seems they were warned before coming in. Uchiha Chushin nodded with satisfaction, greeted the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku, and without wasting time, he teleported to Uzumaki Island through the space mark he left on Uzumaki Island. Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi on Whirlpool Island had received the news through the cat ninja summoning technique before, and had been waiting there for a long time. Seeing them waiting there, Uchiha Choshin nodded, went directly to the open space next to him, mobilized the chakra in his body, and surged toward Mangekyo Sharingan. Then Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi saw an unforgettable scene in their lives. In the open space in front of Uchiha Hill, the space seemed to be slightly distorted, and more than 100 people appeared there quietly, and they were all members of their tribe. The breeze blew slowly, and the morning sunshine shone on them, weakening the sense of unreality a bit. When they saw clearly that the man leading the tribe, standing at the front, fully armed and with a serious face, was their tribe leader Uchiha Fugaku, they immediately came to their senses, knelt on one knee, lowered his head slightly, and touched his chest with his right hand. "Chief, good day, my lord." Uchiha Fugaku also recovered from the shock at this time. After all, it was the first time for him to experience this kind of space pupil technique. When he was in the Takamagahara space, it was too dark and he didn't feel much. Now he sees himself in a moment. When he was teleported to this strange island, he was really shocked when he looked at the scenery on the island in front of him. Uchiha Fugaku looked at his eldest son and Uchiha Shisui in front of him, and nodded slightly. "Thank you for your hard work these days." Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi immediately responded, "For the glory of Uchiha, all this is what we should do." Uchiha Fugaku nodded and asked them to stand up, then looked around, and finally looked at the sea in the distance. "This is Whirlpool Island, but it's a good place. The sealing skills of the Uzumaki clan are okay, but their strength is a bit lacking. After all, they are just a vassal of the Senju clan. It's a pity that such a good place cannot be defended." After Uchiha Fugaku finished sighing, Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi came forward to report on their patrols on Whirlpool Island in the past few days. The Uchiha tribesmen who followed Uchiha Fugaku couldn't stand it after experiencing this time and space shift. Although they didn't move back and forth, they were still whispering there. Among them were several people who had followed Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Chushin to meet Uchiha Shisui outside the village, and they were all whispering there. Uchiha Yuta. The deputy chief is indeed the #1 master of our Uchiha. I didn't expect that the deputy chief not only has superior combat power, but also knows the time and space ninjutsu. You know, the 4th Hokage was the time and space ninjutsu Flying Thunder. God is famous, and in the ninja world, there are only a handful of people who know how to use time and space ninjutsu. After hearing what Uchiha Yuta said, Uchiha Suguha next to him also echoed, well, I still remember the original scene fresh. The deputy patriarch and us went to find Shisui. Unexpectedly, Shisui was plotted by Danzo and was about to die. Shisui is a close friend of the deputy chief. The deputy chief was angry at that time, and directly activated Mangekyo and used the divine power of Mangekyo Sharingan, Susanoo. When I saw the giant that covered the sky and the sun, I felt numb all over. At that time, I even doubted whether the deputy patriarch was the legendary god descending to earth. Later, I returned to the clan and found out that the deputy patriarch's eyes are beyond the ordinary 3-tomo Sharingan, the same Mangekyo Sharingan as Uchiha Madara, and he uses the divine power of Mangekyo Sharingan, Susanoo. Yuta, weren't you the captain of the guard team like the deputy chief? Are you hiding it secretly? In fact, like the vice clan master, you also opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Quote. Uchiha Yuta rolled his eyes when he heard Uchiha Suguha teasing him. He and Suguha were good friends and knew that he was joking about him, but he was not angry. If I can reach the height of the deputy chief, my life will be worth it. Moreover, have you noticed that the deputy chief's time and space ninjutsu should be more powerful than the 4th Hokage's? I have never heard of the 4th Hokage's time. Space ninjutsu can transfer so many people at once. The tribesmen nearby also agreed, and the Uchiha tribesmen who had never seen the opening of Susanoo in Uchiha Hills asked about the scene at that time. Uchiha Chushin did not care about the adoring looks and whispers of the clan members. He closed his eyes and folded his arms quietly waiting for Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi to report the situation to the clan leader. He had no choice but to remove more than 100 clan members from them. Teleported out of Gao Tianyuan space, his eyes were sore. In order to maintain his image in front of his tribe, he could only close his eyes. After Shisui and the others reported the situation to Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Chushin's eyes had relaxed a lot. He walked up to Uchiha Fugaku and nodded slightly. Master Patriarch, if there is nothing else, I will go back. Do you have any other orders? Uchiha Fugaku saw Uchiha Chushin, and the lines on his originally serious face softened. Hearing Chushin's words, he nodded to him. Thank you for your hard work this time, Chushan. You are also Sasuke's teacher now. We can be considered a family, so we don't have to be too formal. I'm not with the Konoha tribe, and things there depend on you and the elder. If anything happens, if you don't have time to contact me, just discuss it with the great elder. When he said this, Uchiha Fugaku's tone also became serious. Uchiha Chushin, show your majesty as the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan. Your position as deputy chief was agreed upon by the great elder and I, and you are worthy of it. Take this position. I am not in the Uchiha clan, so you have the final say in the clan, and the Great Elder is only assisting you. The Uchiha clan will have to rely on you young people in the future, and you must grow up as soon as possible. Not only strength, but also mind and means, these all need to be learned and improved. Quote. Uchiha Chaoshin was shocked when he heard Uchiha Fugaku's words. He knew that Uchiha Fugaku was planning to train him as the future clan leader. You must know that the clan leader line has been passed down in Uchiha Fugaku's lineage since Uchiha Madara left Konoha, because not only is their bloodline pure, but their prestige is also extremely high among the Uchiha clan, with frequent masters. If nothing unexpected happens, the future leader of Uchiha will be either Uchiha Itachi or Uchiha Sasuke, and Uchiha Itachi has also opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. As long as Uchiha if Itachi doesn't grow crooked in the future patriarch will most likely be Uchiha Itachi. Although Uchiha Chaoshin used distinguished heavenly gods on Uchiha Fugaku, it did not change his thoughts and perceptions in this regard. In other words, Uchiha Fugaku was willing and prepared to give up the position of the patriarch of their clan to Uchiha Chushan. Looking back now, Uchiha Fugaku asked Uchiha Sasuke to become a disciple of Uchiha Chushan. In fact, he was paving the way for Uchiha Chushan. As long as Uchiha Chushan is the master of the son of the clan leader, he can also be regarded as the clan leader. There will be a lot less resistance in becoming the clan leader in the future. Although Uchiha Chushin did not care about the position of the clan leader and only cared about the growth of his own strength, Chushin was still quite touched by Uchiha Fugaku's kindness and nodded to express his understanding. Then he said goodbye to Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi. Shisui was still as warm as ever, and since Uchiha Itachi knew that Uchiha Chushin had become Uchiha Sasuke's master, and he saved Uchiha Shisui, his attitude towards Uchiha Chushin was very friendly, even though seeing that Uchiha Fugaku was preparing to pass the position of clan leader to Uchiha Chushin, his attitude did not change, and he still responded in a friendly manner to Uchiha Chushin's greeting. It seems that Uchiha Itachi's size and vision are indeed very within reach. Uchiha Chushin did not hesitate any longer. With a wave of his hand, he transferred the supplies that had been prepared in the clan and stored in his space from the space to the open space in front of him. After bidding farewell to them, he teleported back alone, in space. Now that Uchiha Fugaku and his team have been sent to Uzumaki Island, my mission has been completed. After the first echelon completes the mission, it will take a week. I should go to the third Hokage to report now. After all, I have promised the third before generation, it's not good to go late. Besides, if you go to Anbu in third generation early, you can also get familiar with Kakashi and Yamato, and find out their information early. It will be more convenient once you have trained your body with the lightning style armor and upgraded the Mangekyo Sharingan to the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Copy the pupil technique in Kakashi Sharingan, Kamui and Yamato's wood style. By then, your combat power should be able to break through the peak of Kage level and reach the same state as the first generation Hokage Senju Hashirama, Super Kage level. After sending Uchiha Fugaku and others to Whirlpool Island, Uchiha Chushin returned to the space. He did not rush back to Konoha, but stayed in the space directly to practice today's lightning style armor. Uchiha Chaoshin felt that due to the increase in the strength of his physical body, his Mangekyo Sharingan was about to evolve into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. For the past 2 days, his eyes had felt like they were about to move. Uchiha Chushin ended today's training with anticipation and joy. He did not stay in the space for too long, turned around and left the space, and came to Konoha's home. After simply washing up at home, after all, he had sweated a lot while practicing, Uchiha Chushin was fully equipped, left the clan, and rushed to the center of Konoha village, the Hokage building. Since Uchiha Chaoshin is still just an ordinary jonin in Konoha village, he has not officially joined Anbu, and he is still the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan, so he is more formal and does not enter the Hokage building directly. Instead, he asks the guard to report one time. Soon, Uchiha was invited to the Hokage office. At this time, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was just wearing casual clothes and sitting at the desk with a big pipe in his mouth. When he saw Uchiha coming in, he also greeted him with a smile. Before, he looked like a kind-hearted little old man. Uchiha Chaoshin was not deceived by the appearance of third Hokage. His image could only deceive common people or some inexperienced children. If third Hokage was just such a kind little old man, how could he be the longest-serving ruler of Konoha village? Hokage, of course, the third Hokage promoted in the ninja school is still the strongest Hokage in history. Uchiha Chaoshin did not greet third Hokage with fear or indifference, but behaved appropriately and with respect. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Uchiha Chushin standing in front of him, and was filled with emotion. The man in front of him was only more than 10 years old, but his strength was already at the top of the ninja world. He was completely different from the proud Uchiha, usually not showing off at all, and his talent performance is worse than that of geniuses like Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi. He is completely hidden behind Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi, as if he is standing on the second echelon. The third Hokage has also read the information about Uchiha Chaoshin in the past few days. He usually just fishes and makes soy sauce in Uchiha's security team. He is just messing around and doesn't look like a genius. If it hadn't been for the accident of Uchiha Shisui, which exposed Uchiha Hill, the two people standing at the top of Konoha village, third Hokage and Shimura Danzo, would never have thought that there was another person in the Uchiha clan who secretly opened Mangekyo Sharingan and developed Susanoo to the third level. In the third stage, the strength has firmly stood at the peak of Kage level. This is also the reason why Shimura Danzo is so honest these days. After all, although he has a lot of talents at his core, it is still difficult to pull out someone who can compete with the peak of Kage level. The third Hokage is better. Although his favorite apprentice Orochimaru has defected, whether it is Toad Sage Jiraiya or Tsunade, they can compete with Uchiha Chushin. As for the third Hokage himself, if he was in the previous at his peak, with his easy-to-hand operations and combinations of various ninjutsu, he was believed to be able to compete evenly with Uchiha Chushin. But now, because I am too old and my body has aged, both my reaction speed and my own chakra amount have dropped a lot. It is no longer easy to barely maintain my strength at Kage level. If there is a fight with Uchiha Uyama, he can hold on for a while at the beginning, but he will not be able to hold on later. Of course, if Uchiha Uyama directly opens Susanoo's third stage, then Sarutobi Hiruzen will have no choice but to avoid it. The third Hokage looked at the calm-faced young man in front of him. He has grown in stature and can be said to be a young man. After a brief contact before, he also knew that he was a person with his own thoughts and ideas, unlike Uchiha Shisui, so easily infected by the will of fire. The reason why third Hokage brought Uchiha Chushin to his side was because he saw that he had a special status in the Uchiha clan and it was entirely possible for him to inherit the position of clan leader. Moreover, he had an online IQ, was calm in doing things, and considered the consequences. He was not that kind of person. No matter who he cares about, it is safer and more powerful to stay with such a person. If there are any difficult things, you can let him deal with them. Furthermore, I hope to deepen Uchiha Chushin's feelings for Konoha. After all, he also grew up in Konoha, so it's impossible for him to have no feelings at all. Since the Uchiha clan is ready to move away from Konoha, this Uchiha Hill is the link between Konoha and Uchiha. As long as this Uchiha Hill is always by his side, then he will not worry that the Uchiha clan will lose control and fall to other forces. The third Hokage said with a smile, "Chushan, how is the relocation of the Uchiha clan going? Do you need help from the village? If you need help, just ask, you're welcome. After all, Uchiha is also a member of our Konoha village." Judging from his tone, it was as if the Uchiha clan had just moved to another place to live, rather than leaving Konoha. Faced with the kindness shown by the third Hokage, Uchiha Chushin also responded in kind, "Thank you very much for the third Hokage's concern. The address has been selected and we are slowly moving. As you know, there are too many people in the tribe and the relocation cannot be done overnight." The two exchanged pleasantries and got down to business. Third Hokage took a deep drag on his pipe and blew out the smoke heavily. "Uchiha Chushin, although you are very strong now, you have just joined Anbu after all. If you are not familiar with Anbu, you should first follow Captain Anbu, who is responsible for my security work recently. When you are familiar with Anbu's work, you will be able to serve as captain. When it comes time to take responsibility, I will give you the position of Captain Anbu that I promised you before. How about it?" Uchiha Chaoshin has long expected the arrangement of the third Hokage. After all, Anbu's job is relatively dangerous. It is impossible to directly let you serve as the captain of Anbu just because you are strong. This is not only making fun of Anbu's job, but also of those Anbu. We are not responsible for the lives of team members. Uchiha Chushin lowered his head slightly and put his right hand on his chest. Everything is subject to Master Hokage's arrangement. I have no objection. After all, I have no experience. Even if Master Hokage directly assigns me to the position of captain, I have no clue to arrange the work. The third Hokage nodded approvingly. It was easy to talk to smart people, unlike those who have lost some strength and wouldn't even listen to you if you explained to them. Third Hokage was relieved when he saw Uchiha Chushin obeying his arrangement, and saw him raise his voice, "Kakashi, come in." As soon as third Hokage finished speaking, a person appeared in front of him. Body flicker technique was clean and neat, with a tall figure, wearing a fox mask on his face, and eye-catching silver-white hair. Uchiha Chushin knew that this was the Hokage ninja. The popular character and genius character, Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi knelt down in front of Hokage and bowed his head slightly. "Hokage-sama." The third Hokage said to Kakashi, "Kakashi, this is Uchiha Chaoshin of the Uchiha clan. He will join your team for the time being. You must lead him well. Although he is young, he is very strong." Kakashi had already recognized the person in front of him when he came to visit the third Hokage in Uchiha Hill. He was the person who used his ultimate move outside the village and killed Danzo and his group with one blow. It's a pity that Danzo was not killed directly. Kakashi and Danzo also had a lot of feuds. You know, his father Konoha's White Fang was most likely forced to commit suicide because of Shimura Danzo spreading rumors. When Kakashi heard what third Hokage said, he agreed directly without any nonsense, "As you command, Lord Hokage." Then, third Hokage told Uchiha Chushan, "Chushan, you should learn from Kakashi first. Even though he is young, he is already a very qualified senior in Anbu." Uchiha Chaoshin was a little surprised that the third Hokage assigned him to Kakashi. After all, Kakashi owned a Sharingan from the Uchiha clan, and the blood successor family took this kind of leakage of the blood inheritance boundary very seriously. The Sharingan owned by Kakashi initially caused an uproar among the Uchiha clan, and it took a lot of effort and cost for the third Hokage and the fourth Hokage, who had not yet become Hokage, but whose reputation and prestige were already very high, to calm down this matter. Unexpectedly, third Hokage asked him to follow Kakashi. Isn't he afraid of causing trouble for Kakashi? Third Hokage also has its own considerations. Firstly, it has been negotiated at the beginning. Uchiha Chaoshin is not the kind of unreasonable person. Secondly, Kakashi has been too miserable in recent years. He died of his father, teammates, accidentally killed teammates, and his master and wife. In the past few years, everyone who had anything to do with him had died, leaving him in a state of despair. Don't look at it. Kakashi is now just like a normal person, whether he is performing tasks or communicating in daily life. However, third Hokage is an old man and has long discovered that Kakashi still has not come out of the shadow of his life. He has no energy at all. This also caused Kakashi, a good prospect, to be delayed. You know, Kakashi became Jonin's genius ninja at the age of 12. His talent was even more terrifying than his father Konoha's White Fang. In the beginning, Konoha's White Fang relied on Hataki's sword skills to become a top-notch expert in cage level. The Sand Shinobi village collapsed immediately. Even the son and daughter-in-law of Chiyo's mother-in-law in Sand Shinobi village were cut in half by White Fang and killed directly. This had also caused the young red sand scorpion to go astray. Hatake Kakashi is the more talented son of Konoha's White Fang. It stands to reason that his strength should have exploded in the past few years. Even if he has not entered cage level, he should have touched the threshold of cage level. However, Kakashi's performance in the past few years has not been satisfactory, and he has only played some fancy tricks. Although he has gained the reputation of copying the ninja Kakashi, his strength has not improved much. In the eyes of the third Hokage, he is just a typical person who cannot grow taller. Long strength. Third Hokage considered that it might be because Kakashi has not come out of his psychological shadow, so he has no intention to practice, and his strength has not improved much. He wanted to try to see if Kakashi could be touched by assigning Uchiha Choshin, who was also from the Uchiha clan, to Kakashi. In the original work, 3rd Hokage arranged for Uchiha Itachi to live with Kakashi, which is probably the same consideration. What 3rd Hokage didn't expect was that the reason why Kakashi's strength has not improved much in recent years is not only because of his mentality but also because of the Sharingan in him. That Sharingan is not an ordinary 3-tomo Sharingan, but a Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi is not originally from the Uchiha clan. Using the Sharingan consumes more than the Uchiha clan. Moreover, his Sharingan cannot be turned off, and it always maintains the 3 Magatama state, which is equivalent to consuming Kakashi's chakra all the time. This is also thanks to Kakashi. If someone else were to use this consumption method, let alone improvement in strength, it would be a good thing not to be sucked dry. Originally, the Hitaki clan was famous for the Hitaki sword technique. Kakashi's father, Hitaki Tsukumo, took the Hitaki sword technique to the ultimate level. Moreover, Kakashi was good at the Hitaki sword technique before he got Obito's Sharingan. Kakashi later used Sharingan as his main offensive method, which was equivalent to giving up what he was good at and switching to what he was not good at. It is strange that his strength can improve. Although he had thought about it so much, he actually just thought about it in Uchiha Chushin's mind. Of course Uchiha Chushin was willing to assign him to Kakashi in the 3rd Hokage, because in this way, it would be more convenient to copy the pupil technique Kamui or get close to Yamato in the future. Uchiha Chushin immediately said to Kakashi, "Kakashi-senpai, please excuse me." 3rd Hokage had already said hello to Kakashi before Uchiha came to report to 3rd Hokage, so Kakashi was not surprised at all that Uchiha was assigned to him. Since the 3rd Hokage still had work to deal with, they were not left with them any longer, and Kakashi was asked to lead Uchiha Chushin to go through the process of joining Anbu. Kakashi took Uchiha to many places, such as leaving files, collecting equipment, uniforms and masks, etc. Uchiha Chushin is not impatient. For him, joining Anbu is a more interesting thing. It is not a bad thing to experience everything. Finally, Uchiha Hill was brought by Kakashi to the Anbu base, directly beneath the Hokage building. Uchiha Choshin didn't expect that the Anbu base was actually in Konoha village, and it was right below the Hokage building. But if you think about it carefully, it was right. After all, Anbu is a combat unit directly affiliated with the Hokage, and it is not the kind of shameful thing. Of course the closer it is to the Hokage, the better, so it is natural to be placed under the Hokage building. Since Anbu personnel either have missions and have not returned from performing missions outside the village, or are responsible for personal protection of Hokage, they are naturally next to the Hokage office, so there are not many personnel at the Anbu base. Due to the lack of staff, Kakashi did not introduce Uchiha Chushin. Instead, he asked Chushin to come on time when he takes over tomorrow, and Kakashi will introduce him to everyone at that time. Uchiha Choshin had no objection to Kakashi's arrangement, so after receiving the things, Uchiha Choshin left work honorably. When leaving the Anbu base, Uchiha seemed to see a purple-haired figure from behind, which made him more concerned, but when he wanted to take a closer look, he couldn't see it. Uchiha Chushin didn't pay much attention to the newly appeared figure with purple hair. He was probably a member of Anbu. Since he couldn't find it today, he could find it tomorrow when everyone arrived. Since Kakashi still has to be on duty at the Hokage building, he doesn't do much to retain Uchiha. Uchiha Choshin didn't pay attention, said hello to 3rd Hokage and went home. By the time Uchiha Choshin left the Hokage building, it was already afternoon. Chushin had no intention of wandering around the village. After all, he had not been idle since this morning. Since he could get off work early today, he was going to go home and rest. When Uchiha Chushin returned to the clan, he did not go home directly, but came to Uchiha Makoto's home. Uchiha Chushin still takes Uchiha Fugaku's advice very seriously. As the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan and the teacher of Uchiha Sasuke. Since the clan leader is not at home, he is responsible for taking care of Uchiha Makoto and Uchiha Sasuke. And you can also have a meal. And Sister Makoto said that these days are relatively important days. If Uchiha Akiyama works hard in these days, then the chance of Sister Makoto getting pregnant will be very high. For the future of the Uchiha clan and the prosperity of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Chaoshin must of course work hard. After all, Uchiha Chaoshin is the man who started the Mangekyo Sharingan. The offspring created by him and sister Makoto are naturally more talented than ordinary Uchiha clan members. Much higher. When Uchiha Chushin arrived at Uchiha Makoto's home, Uchiha Makoto had already expected it and had already prepared a sumptuous dinner waiting for him. Next to sister Makoto was his new disciple, Uchiha Sasuke. Since Uchiha Fugaku is already Uha Sasuke's master, he can justifiably come to Uchiha Fugaku's house frequently without anyone saying anything. And now Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Itachi have expanded their territory on Uzumino Island. The two biggest eyesores have been sent to Uzumino Island by Uchiha Chushin. Coupled with the current strength and status of Uchiha Chushin, the Uchiha clan is now everyone admires him, and no one makes irresponsible remarks. After dinner, Uchiha Chushin left consciously. After all, mother and son are the only two people in Uchiha Fugaku's house now, so it's not good to stay here overnight. After Uchiha Chushin left, he did not return to his home. He turned around and teleported directly to his space. In the dead of night, before Uchiha Chushin could activate Uchiha Makoto's space mark and teleport her over, she felt the fluctuations in the space. The next second, Uchiha Makoto appeared with a tray in her hand and wearing a close-fitting kimono. In front of Uchiha Uyama. Uchiha Chushin knew that his sister Makoto came to him after putting Sasuke to sleep. And now, poor Uchiha Sasuke is the only one left in Uchiha Fugaku's family. After seeing Uchiha Chushin's eyes, Uchiha Makoto blushed and explained, "I left a shadow clone to accompany Sasuke." Uchiha Chushin didn't say anything, he just hugged Uchiha Makoto and walked to the house next to him. In the next few days, Uchiha Akiyama followed Kakashi on duty at the Hokage building during the day, and held Uchiha Makoto in his arms at night. He worked hard for the next generation. He also wanted to see if the child conceived by him and sister Makoto would be gifted very high. A week later, just as Uchiha Chaoshin was preparing to send the second echelon of people organized by the Great Elder to Whirlpool Island, Uchiha Chaoshin's secret technique lightning-style armor finally ushered in a breakthrough. It should be said that the body trained using the lightning-style armor has finally achieved a breakthrough. On this day, in the Takamagahara space, Uchiha Chushin was preparing to end the day's training on lightning-style armor. Suddenly he felt something was wrong, as if his body had been reborn, and a force surged out from deep within his body. Uchiha Chushin knew that this time he had the chance to break through the physical strength. He no longer worried about whether his body would be injured, and directly increased the output of chakra. This directly leads to the lightning-style armor becoming more and more powerful. From a distance, Uchiha Akiyama looks like it is surrounded by thunder and lightning, and the crackling sound can be heard far away. As the strength of laden armor became higher and higher, Uchiha Akiyama felt that the strength of his body was changing. It was as if the body had become stronger inside and out, and it had become several times stronger. After Uchiha Akiyama felt that his body's transformation was over, he slowly reduced the output of chakra, making his body's electric light weaker and weaker. Finally, Uchiha Akiyama stopped practicing the laden armor. At this moment, Uchiha Akiyama felt as if his Sharingan was out of control. I opened it involuntarily. First it was 3 Magatama, and then the 3 Magatama turned faster and faster, evolving into Mangekyo Sharingan. This is not over yet. The Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Akiyama also rotated faster and faster, and finally some patterns seemed to appear on the Mangekyo Sharingan out of thin air, making the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Akiyama more delicate and beautiful. And just when Uchiha Akiyama's Mangekyo Sharingan evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Akiyama felt a change in his body. Both chakra and eye power have been greatly increased. Moreover, Uchiha Chushin can feel that his eyes have been strengthened and will no longer be damaged when using the pupil technique. At this time, the system that had not appeared for a long time finally made the sound that Uchiha had been waiting for. Congratulations to host Uchiha Akiyama's Mangekyo Sharingan for evolving into Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Host's chakra has been greatly increased, and host's pupil power has also been greatly increased. The pupil technique distinguished heavenly gods has been strengthened. The pupil technique is strengthened in time and space. Eye technique Takamagahara has been strengthened. Eye technique Izanagi has been strengthened. The pupil's copying pupil has been strengthened. Quote, host, please wait patiently. Since the host Mangekyo Sharingan has evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the eye skills have been strengthened. It is expected that the enhancement will be completed in 2 hours. Uchiha Akiyama heard the system prompts and opened his eyes happily. After so many days of hard work, it finally paid off. Not only has his physical body been strengthened, but the strengthening of his physical body has also allowed his Sharingan to evolve. He can finally use the pupil technique unscrupulously without worrying about its side effects. Through his unremitting efforts and the help of the system, the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Hill finally evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Chaoshin slowly opened his eyes after feeling that his Sharingan had evolved and stabilized. I saw that the Sharingan of Uchiha Hills is somewhat different from the previous Mangekyo Sharingan. The patterns in the eyes are more complicated than the previous Mangekyo Sharingan. That is, some shading has been added to the previous patterns, making the entire eyes look more complex. The previous one was even more beautiful and magnificent. And the entire eye is like a work of art, as if this evolution has changed the entire texture of the eye, as if the eye is carved from the best jade, rather than an eye made of flesh and blood. Uchiha Chushin slowly opened his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and couldn't help but be shocked by the world he saw. Is this the world as eternal Mangekyo Sharingan sees it? Everything in the world is so lifelike, with dust floating in the air that is usually invisible to the naked eye, and the whole world seems to have been added with a high-definition filter. And as I devote and concentrate my attention, what I see with these eyes, it's as if everything has been slowed down, making itself clearly visible. Uchiha Chaoshin looked at the world and fell into self-movement. Things that he had usually taken for granted suddenly became clear, and his indifferent heart was awakened. Uchiha Chushin slowly withdrew his gaze and began to examine his body. Ever since he got the Raikage series lightning-style armor, Uchiha Chushin has not stopped practicing. Coupled with his foul mental power, he can control the disobedient thunder attribute chakra carefully, making his physical training more effective. After Uchiha Chaoshin's unremitting efforts, he finally completed the first stage of training in the lightning-style armor, strengthening his physical strength to the same level as Jonin, who mainly cultivates the physical body. In other words, his physical strength, whether it is physical strength, the physical strength and vitality of the body are comparable to those of Taijutsu Jonin, especially the body's reaction speed. Because the body is strengthened by the thunder attribute chakra, the reaction speed is even more superior. Its representative figure is the 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. The 4th Hokage relies on his amazing reaction speed and the time and space ninjutsu Flying Thunder God to kill ordinary Jonin like a chicken, making his enemies order the yellow flash to an order to abandon the mission and not pursue responsibility. Of course, Uchiha Chaoshin's current reaction speed should still be slower than that of 4th Hokage, but compared to others, it is much stronger. After checking his physical strength, Uchiha nodded with satisfaction. The body is the capital of revolution. You must know that chakra is a combination of spirit and body. Only when the body is strong can he go further in the future. Next, is my own chakra. Since I am not from the Senju and Uzumaki clan, my chakra is not advantageous compared to them. However, as my Sharingan evolves into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the strength of my body also increases. Now, my chakra has also become Chijula. Now, even if I use water style in the desert, I can probably change the terrain. Like Kisame, I can become a man who can summon the sea at any time. Although Uchiha Chaoshin's eyes have evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the evolution of the eyes has been completed, and the pupil technique in the eyes is still evolving. In order to prevent further accidents, Uchiha Chaoshin simply waited patiently on the space island. However, as time goes by, Uchiha Chushin clearly feels that his control over this space is getting stronger and stronger. If a person is in this space, Uchiha Chushin can only kick him out of this space, and now, Uchiha Chushin can clearly feel that he can already move the intruder at will, and Uchiha Chushin himself can already sense everything in this space, and can move into this space at will according to his thoughts. Anywhere, and just when Uchiha Chushin felt more and more deeply about this space, he suddenly felt a faint sense of rejection appear on his body. Uchiha Choshin inexplicably realized that his pupil technique, Takamagahara, was about to evolve. After finishing, you need to go out by yourself, otherwise it will disturb the evolution of this space. Uchiha Choshin didn't know whether the evolution of his pupil technique would make a big splash, so he did not return to Konoha village or go to Whirlpool Island. Instead, he chose a place where he stayed in an inaccessible place when he last left the village. The space mark below. Just after Uchiha Choshin came out of the space, the sound of the system appeared in Uchiha Choshin's mind. Congratulations to host, the pupil technique distinguished heavenly gods has evolved. Single quote. Congratulations to host, the instant space-time evolution of I technique has been completed. Single quote. Congratulations to host, the I technique Izanagi has evolved. Single quote. Congratulations to host, the evolution of I technique replication I has been completed. Single quote. Congratulations to host, the evolution of Takamagahara, the pupil technique, has been completed. Single quote. Host Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan I technique has been fully evolved, please host to learn the details. Single quote. Uchiha Choshin did not expect that all his I skills would have evolved just after he came out of the Takamagahara space. It seems that if he had not delayed the evolution of his I skills in the space, the evolution would have been completed just now. Thinking of this, Uchiha Choshin returned to the Takamagahara space without a trace of nostalgia. As soon as he entered the space, Uchiha was stunned by what he saw. In fact, the island in the Takamagahara space before Uchiha Hill is not very big. Even if it is a relatively small island, it can be relatively wealthy for the people of a village, a small village, a few hundred people, and now, after strengthening, the biggest change is that the entire island has become at least 10 times larger. Now, even if the entire Uchiha clan is moved in, it is more than enough. As the island grew larger, the water source on the island changed from a stream to a river. It flowed out from a place near the top of the mountain, meandered through most of the island, and finally flowed into the sea. In fact, Uchiha Choshin was curious before to see if he could enter the sea far away. Unfortunately, not far from entering the sea, he encountered a space barrier, and Uchiha Choshin had to return disappointed. Looking at it, the entire island looks very majestic. Although it is still not as good as Uzumaki Island, this island completely belongs to Uchiha Choshin himself. Uchiha Choshin stood on the highest point of the space island. Looking around, he was full of pride. This is his own island. The key is that Uchiha Choshin can feel the various things in the entire space, just like gods, controlling this space, everything of. After Uchiha Choshin recovered from this feeling, he focused on his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and began to carefully check how far his I skills had evolved and what enhancements he had received. First, the I technique, Takamagahara. The evolution of Takamagahara's I technique has led to the expansion of the entire space, and Uchiha Choshin's control over the entire space has also been greatly enhanced. If an enemy invades the space, Uchiha Choshin can not only feel it, but also control the location of the intruder at all times. Finally, it can not only expel the intruder, but also move the intruder freely in the space. And use the power of space to fix the enemy in one position. As for outside the space, Uchiha Uyama can now control the location of people marked with space marks, and as long as people with chakra below cage level have no ability to resist in front of Uchiha Uyama's Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, it was sucked into the space by the Uchiha Hills and suppressed within it. Next is the pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods. The effect of the pupil technique Distinguished Heavenly Gods has not changed. The object affected by Distinguished Heavenly Gods will be controlled by it unconsciously and silently. The biggest change in Distinguished Heavenly Gods is that the cooldown time has been further shortened to 1 month. Moreover, with Uchiha Okuyama's Mangekyo evolving into Eternal Mangekyo this time, Distinguished Heavenly Gods have been able to be used again. I technique, Instant Space. The I technique of Instant Space has been strengthened twice since it was obtained by Uchiha Choshin and has not been used yet. This time, after evolution, it can be said to be the most powerful illusion except Distinguished Heavenly Gods. The time, space, matter, and creatures in it are all created and controlled by the caster, and it also comes with spiritual attacks. A person who is not very strong in mental strength and willpower may have a mental breakdown directly. I technique, Izanagi. a technique that can change fate. The cooling time is still 3 days, but with the power of Uchiha Chushin's eyes, it has been able to store Izanagi 3 times in the eyes, which can make the fault tolerance rate higher. Finally, there is the most important pupil technique in Uchiha Hill, the copying pupil. His pupil technique seems powerful, but it still has limitations. For example, it cannot copy and learn some special blood inheritance hidden in the body, such as the blood of the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan that are born with chakra and vitality far beyond ordinary people. With Uchiha Okuyama's Sharingan becoming the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the convenience and upper limit of the Eye of Replication has been increased, and the number of times it can be copied has been increased to 9. And if it is the same kind of blood inheritance limit, you can also learn from different people by repeatedly copying it to maximize the effect of the blood inheritance limit obtained by Uchiha Choshin. For example, if Uchiha Chushin wants to copy the bloodline of the Uzumaki clan, he can first copy the Uzumaki clan's physique of Uzumaki Naruto. If he is not satisfied with it, he can find other Uzumaki clan members to copy and learn from, such as Uzumaki Shonglin, Nagato, to improve the perfection of Uzumaki bloodline. Of course, if you still feel it's not enough, you can wait until Uzumaki Shinkuna can be resurrected directly in the future. I have no other idea, just to perfect the limits of my blood inheritance. As for the 4th Hokage, he is in Shinigami's belly. There is no way, no way. Uchiha Choshin was also very satisfied when he saw this. The original purpose of his stay in Konoha village was to copy the various blood successor limits in Konoha village. However, if people with blood successor limits do not use them, or they just have hidden ones, he has a special physique that is difficult to copy. Now after Sharingan is upgraded, it can be scanned and copied in a way that others cannot detect, which greatly increases the concealment and convenience. It's good now. Originally, Uchiha Chushin planned to copy the Hyuga clan's Byakugan. After all, the Hyuga clan's Byakugan is sometimes very convenient. For example, the 360-degree viewing angle made Uchiha Chushin envious for a long time. However, the Byakugan is not so easy to copy. In the past, it could only be copied when they were using it. However, when they use the Byakugan, mobilizing their own chakra to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan is undoubtedly telling them that you are either hostile to them or you are hostile to them. No attempt will end well. Okay now I just need to hide in a corner. Whether you turn on the Byakugan or not, you can copy and learn. After Uchiha Choshin checked his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Now he is truly standing on the ceiling of the ninja world's combat power. Even if the first generation Hokage Senju Hashirama is resurrected, he can still wrestle with him. It will take some time for Susanoo to be fully formed in the 4th stage, but now her combat power is enough to cope with what she encounters. To put it bluntly, if Uchiha Choshin's ambition is big, with his current strength, he can control the entire Konoha village without anyone noticing. But Uchiha Choshin felt that it was completely unnecessary, because Konoha village would encounter too many things in the future. Although he could completely stop it, with his temperament, and there was no one close to him in Konoha village, he would never come out. Stand in front of Konoha village and fight for Konoha village. Anyway, he has arranged for his tribe to live on the Whirlpool Island. That place is almost isolated from the rest of the world. If it doesn't work, I can arrange the Uchiha clan on an island in my own space. Even if this space is completely isolated from the world, it will be troublesome for the Uchiha clan to enter and exit, but it is also quite troublesome. Moreover, if something unexpected happens to him, then the Uchiha clan in this world will disappear forever. After Uchiha Chushin checked his Sharingan, he did not stay in the space for a while, but turned around and left the space, directly coming to the Uzumaki Island. For now, Uchiha Obito's Kamui is still a hidden danger. Fortunately, the evolution of his pupil technique, Takamagahara, has enabled him to master an ability that can restrain space ninjutsu. After Uchiha Choshin arrived at Whirlpool Island, he was not idle. He started running around the entire island. After a certain distance, he left a space mark in the void, and after another distance, he marked another space mark. During this period, Uchiha Chushin also met Uchiha's tribe. Uchiha Chushin didn't have time to chat. He hurriedly said hello and went directly to do his own things. The people of the Uchiha clan saw the deputy chief of their clan and just wanted to go and pay a visit. After all, he was the top master of the Uchiha clan. In this ninja world where the strong are respected, there are still many clan members who worship Uchiha Chushan. Just as he was about to go over, he saw the deputy chief of his family wave his hand and leave in a hurry. This made the tribesmen who met him feel strange. They didn't know what Lord Uchiha was up to. If Sharingan hadn't been able to confirm that the person in front of him was the deputy chief, they would have suspected that a spy had sneaked into Uzumaki Island to probe for information. In this way, Uchiha Choshin was busy for 2 days and 2 nights. During this period, except for taking a leave from 3rd Hokage, he spent the rest of the time running around Uzumaki Island, constantly marking space marks. Finally, Uchiha Hill marked the last space mark on the cliff at this end of Whirlpool Island. Finally finished, Uchiha breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. As long as the base camp is arranged well, whether it is White Zetsu, Black Zetsu or Uchiha Obito's Kamui, as long as you arrive on Uzumaki Island, you will be able to sense it. There was the last step. Uchiha Chushin came directly to the center of Whirlpool Island through the space mark. Uchiha Chushin took a deep breath, formed seals with his hands, and with a solemn expression began to mobilize the chakra in his body, pouring into him continuously. In Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan that Uchiha Hill has opened is spinning faster and faster with the injection of chakra and pupil power. As the Mangekyo Sharingan rotates, the space marks on the Uzumaki Island slowly light up, shining with sky blue light. The connection between Takamagahara's space and the hundreds of space seals on Uzumaki Island is getting deeper and deeper, while Uchiha Choshin remains motionless in the posture of the seal. Only the chakra in his body seems to be free of charge, and keeps moving towards him. Sharingan gushed away. As time went by, finally, when most of Uchiha Okuyama's chakra was consumed, the space imprints on Uzumaki Island lit up, and at this moment, the space imprints of Takamagahara and Uzumaki Island seemed to resonate, and with the generation of spatial resonance, a faint force of space enveloped the entire Whirlpool Island. Uchiha finally breathed a sigh of relief after feeling that the entire Whirlpool Island was enveloped by the power of space. From now on, the entire Whirlpool Island will be within the sensing range of Uchiha Hill, and any uninvited guest will be sensed by him if he breaks in. Moreover, since Uchiha Obito is enveloped by the space power in the space of Uchiha Uyama, within this range, no one else can use time and space ninjutsu on Uchiha Island except with his permission. In other words, Uchiha Obito Kamui's greatest reliance can no longer be used on Whirlpool Island. After Uchiha sensed the entire Uzumaki Island, he nodded with satisfaction. From now on, Uchiha Island will be his back garden. No matter who wants to break in, he will have to pay a price. This also ensures the safety of the Uchiha clan. There is no way, even if the Uchiha clan moves to Whirlpool Island, the second and fifth son Uchiha Obito will also want to eliminate the Uchiha clan in order to clear the obstacles for him to implement Project Tasuki no Mi. And Uchiha Choshin's move was to abolish Uchiha Obito's biggest reliance, so that he would not dare to come to Uzumaki Island to cause trouble. Later, Uchiha Chushin found Uchiha Fugaku who was sitting on Uzumaki Island, and simply explained the matter to him, and gave him and Uchiha Shisui a space mark that could not enter the space. Uchiha Fugaku and Shisui can rely on this space mark to sense abnormalities in Uzumaki Island, so they don't have to do it themselves. After explaining the matter clearly, Uchiha Choshin left Uzumaki Island, returned to his space, and fell asleep directly. He had no choice but to go for 2 days without rest, and in the end he consumed so much chakra. Although Uchiha Choshin has not reached his limit, he is already a little tired. In order to keep himself in good condition, Uchiha Choshin does not show off his strength and rests when it is time to rest. When Uchiha woke up, it was already dark. Uchiha stretched and felt like he was alive. Fortunately, it was the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. If the ordinary Mangekyo Sharingan had caused him such trouble, the Uzumaki Island space mark would be less than half, and he would be almost blind. Uchiha Chushin rubbed his stomach. He was so hungry that his chest was pressed against his back. Uchiha Chushin felt that he could eat a cow now. Uchiha Chushin looked at the dry food and dried meat he had stored, rubbed his poor belly, and decided to go out and eat something good to be worthy of himself. When Uchiha Choshin came out of the space, he realized that it was already late at night and the entire Konoha village had fallen asleep. Uchiha Chushin sighed. It seemed that he could no longer eat the barbecue that he had been longing for. Ichiraku Ramen was also closed at this time. Uchiha Chushin hesitated for a while, but came to Uchiha Makoto's house through the space mark. Don't get me wrong, it was mainly because Uchiha Chushin's house hadn't started cooking for a long time, so he didn't stock up on food. Uchiha Chushin came to Sister Makoto's house. See if there's anything to eat. When Uchiha Chushin quietly opened the door to the room and slowly walked towards the kitchen, he discovered with keen sense that Sister Makoto had not gone to bed yet, but came to the kitchen in the middle of the night and was drinking water. Uchiha sensed that Sister Makoto was not sleeping and was also in the kitchen, so she knocked on the kitchen door. Uchiha Makoto, who was drinking water in the kitchen, was startled. He quickly put down the cup in his hand and asked warily, "Who is it?" Uchiha Chushin didn't want to scare Sister Makoto, so he quickly replied, "It's me, Sister Makoto, I just came back, I'm a little hungry, and I'm looking for some food." Uchiha Makoto was relieved when she heard it was Uchiha Chushin's voice. Recently, Uchiha Chushin came to her house more diligently than when he returned to his own home. It was normal for him to come looking for food when he was hungry in the middle of the night. Uchiha Makoto quickly opened the door to let Chushin-kun in, and quickly took out some snacks and placed them in front of Uchiha Chushin. "Chushanjin, you need to pacify your belly first, and I'll cook for you right now." Uchiha Chushin was not polite, nodded, took the snacks and stuffed them into his mouth. While eating snacks, Uchiha looked at Sister Makoto who was busy next to her and asked curiously, "Sister Makoto, why aren't you asleep yet?" Uchiha Makoto replied while cooking, "I feel a little uncomfortable and can't sleep." Uchiha Chushin heard that Sister Makoto was not feeling well, and became nervous. He quickly put down the snacks in his hands and asked 3 consecutive questions from his soul. "What's wrong? Sister Makoto, what's wrong? Are you sick?" When Uchiha Makoto heard what Mr. Chushin said, he didn't reply, but a blush appeared on his face. It was really beautiful. Unfortunately, Uchiha Makoto had his back to Uchiha Chushin at this time, so he could not appreciate such a touching side of Sister Makoto. Uchiha Makoto was cooking and Kaido said, "I'm not sick, Chushan-kun, there are some other reasons, don't worry." Makoto paused and then said, "I'll talk to you after you finish eating." Uchiha Chushin was half relieved when he heard that Sister Makoto was not sick. In this world, Sister Makoto was the closest person to him. If she had that kind of incurable physical problem, then he would have to kidnap her, bring Tsunade. If Tsunade can't do it, then Orochimaru. If Orochimaru can't do it, then you can only go to Nagato who owns the Rinnegan. Just when Uchiha Chushin was drinking tea and almost finished the second plate of snacks, Sister Makoto finally prepared the meal, including rice, flavored soup, fried saori, and some side dishes. Sister Makoto has the attributes of a good wife and mother, but she has perfected her cooking skills and can cook delicious meals in a short time. As Uchiha ate the food, what he was thinking about was that when he had time, he would teach Sister Makoto the dishes of braised pork, pickled fish, mapo tofu, 4-year-old meatballs, etc. After all, it had been a long time since she had eaten them, and she was still very excited, nostalgic. Uchiha Makoto sat next to him, watching Chushanjin eat with a tender face, the tenderness in his eyes almost overflowing, and asked him to eat slowly while adding rice and vegetables to him. After eating a large pot of rice, Uchiha finally put down his bowl and chopsticks with satisfaction. Seeing this, Uchiha Makoto quickly put away the tableware and made a cup of hot tea for Chushanjin to help him digest his food. After Uchiha had eaten and drank enough, he drank the hot tea in his hand and recalled old things. "Sister Makoto, you just said you had something to tell me. What was it? Is there really nothing wrong with your body?" Uchiha Makoto sat back next to Chushan-kun and looked at Uchiha Chushan with a gentle look on his face. "Chushan-kun, I am pregnant." After Sister Makoto finished speaking, there was no movement, but she looked at Uchiha Chushin expectantly. Uchiha Chushin was also a little confused at this time. Sister Makoto's voice was very gentle, but to Uchiha Chushin, it was deafening. His mind was filled with the sound of Sister Makoto's voice, "I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant." Quote. Uchiha Chushin was completely stunned. He even dropped the cup in his hand and didn't even react when the remaining hot tea was poured on his lap. Uchiha Makoto looked at Uchiha Chushin and was completely stunned. She didn't say anything, but still looked at him with starry eyes. She wanted to remember every move of her little man at this time. Uchiha Makoto waited for a long time. Uchiha Chushin finally seemed to have come back to his senses. He grabbed Uchiha Makoto's hand and looked at Sister Makoto eagerly. Sister Makoto, is this true? When did it happen? Are you really pregnant? Uchiha Makoto looked at the eager Uchiha Chushin, and he was not angry. He even scratched his hand and it hurt, but he still answered his question gently. It's been 2 days. I've started to feel uncomfortable these days. Sometimes I'm drowsy, and sometimes I'm upset and can't sleep. I also smell the fumes and feel like vomiting. I guess it's almost the same. Uchiha Chushin heard Sister Makoto's answer. Before she could speak, her tears couldn't stop flowing down, and they were so majestic that they couldn't stop them. He hugged Sister Makoto, and while crying unbridled, he said, "Thank you, Sister Makoto, thank you, Sister Makoto." Uchiha Makoto was held in Uchiha Chushin's arms, but she was a little confused. She didn't expect that her little man would react like this. She had expected that Chushin would be excited, happy, angry, and disgusted. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Chushin would cry, and it was such a raging and majestic cry that he couldn't stop, as if he had been greatly wronged. But Sister Makoto still reacted, gently patting Chushin's back with one hand, and slowly stroking his head with the other hand, as if coaxing a child, comforting, don't cry, sister, you should be happy that you are pregnant. If you don't cry, we won't cry. How did Uchiha Makoto know that Uchiha Chushin came from time travel, and this dangerous world was not his hometown? Since he came to this world, he not only lives a life of fear and precarity every day, but also cannot tell anyone what he is worried about. And Uchiha Chushin has always felt that there is a deep separation between himself and this world, as if he has always been an outsider and has never been able to integrate into this world. Even when he killed someone for the first time, he was only slightly uncomfortable, instead of vomiting like others, and because of this, he was praised as a natural ninja. And when Uchiha Chushin knew that his sister Makoto was pregnant, he suddenly realized that he also had relatives in this world. He was no longer alone. At this time, he suddenly became connected with the world. There is no sense of separation anymore. Uchiha Chushin suddenly felt that this was a living world. It was not a manga or animation, but a real world in which he lived. That's why Uchiha Chushin burst into tears without warning, feeling moved, aggrieved, relieved, and reconciled with the world. Uchiha Makoto comforted him for a long time, and then Uchiha Chushin slowly regained his strength and slowly left Sister Makoto's arms. Uchiha raised his head and saw that Sister Makoto's chest was very wet. He couldn't help but blush. It was so embarrassing. He didn't expect that he would cry so miserably. Although the cry was not loud, the tears flowed. Quite a few. Uchiha Makoto saw that Mr. Chushin was still shy, and couldn't help joking. My sister guessed that you would be very excited when you found out that my sister was pregnant, but this is a bit too exciting. After saying that, he pointed at his wife. A place soaked with tears. When Uchiha Chushin heard Sister Makoto's joke, the blush that had just subsided returned again. He couldn't help raising his right hand and scratched the back of his head, with an embarrassed look on his face. Seeing Chushin's expression, Sister Makoto gently held his head in her arms and said softly, Chushin-jun, although I don't know why you reacted so strongly, I can feel that you are alive. It's very tiring and hard, and my sister won't force you to say anything. I just want you to know that if you are tired, my sister's arms will always be open to you. Uchiha Chushin felt a little warm and a little embarrassed in his heart when he heard Sister Makoto's words. He got up from Sister Makoto's arms and wiped his face. He felt a heavy responsibility on his body. While Uchiha was chatting with Makoto-san about recent events, he carefully placed his hand on Makoto-san's belly, as if he could feel a little life beating slowly inside. This is my child, and I want to do it for him. He created a living environment without danger and war. Slowly, the look in Uchiha Chushin's eyes became more and more determined. As his consciousness changed, the chakra on his body became more and more solid. The upper limit of his combat power became higher and higher, and his whole person's momentum and sense of oppression also increased, getting stronger and stronger. Uchiha Chushin also felt his own changes, but in order not to make his sister Makoto uncomfortable, he carefully restrained his momentum. Uchiha saw Makoto-san looking at him and asked, "Isn't it scary to you, Makoto-san?" Uchiha Makoto shook his head. "No, I just feel that Mr. Chushan has changed a lot and he feels more and more secure." After saying that, Sister Makoto lowered her head in embarrassment. Seeing that Sister Makoto was embarrassed, Uchiha Chushan didn't say anything, but held Sister Makoto in his arms. The two of them flirted with each other and talked a lot. At dawn, Uchiha Makoto also fell asleep in Chushin-kun's arms. Uchiha Chushin slowly put Makoto's sister on the bed, for fear of waking her up, and then sent several tribesmen who acted as maids, asking them to take good care of Makoto. Sister and Sasuke went to the Hokage building to report for work. Uchiha Choshin was working at Anbu in the Hokage building during this period. Although he did not see the purple-haired girl whom he only met once, he also understood the defense force around the third Hokage. The main guard force around the third Hokage is Anbu, and there are not only people with strong combat capabilities in Anbu. There are also some ninjas with special abilities who are always on standby beside the third Hokage, such as the Byakugan and Inoshika-cho combination of the Hyuga clan. Not the clan leader of Inoshika-cho, but a clan member. Although they were well hidden, Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Hill couldn't escape, and he had already known their details clearly. Originally, Uchiha Choshin was not prepared to control 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen because he had dedicated his life to Konoha village. After all, his nature was not bad, but as he got older, his temper became too weak, so he was allowed to live peacefully. A few years ago, Orochimaru was asked to send his teacher to the west directly. However, the plan is not as big as the change. Now, his child of Uchiha Choshin is about to come to this world. It will not be good for anyone to keep the weak-tempered Sarutobi Hiruzen and the dark and vicious Shimura Danzo. Moreover, 3rd Hokage is still. It is possible to enjoy your old age because of yourself. In this case, let's solve the trouble once and for all. Since Uchiha Chushin was already a member of Anbu, there were not so many procedures. Uchiha Chushin came directly to the door of the 3rd Hokage's office, knocked on the door, and asked politely, "3rd Hokage-sama, Uchiha Chushin came to report and cancel the fake news." Since it was early in the morning, 3rd Hokage had just arrived at the office and had not met anyone yet, so he was the only one in the office. When he heard it was Uchiha Chushin, he let him in. Uchiha Chushin had invited him inexplicably a few days ago. After a few days off, the 3rd Hokage planned to ask him, show his concern, and instill the will of fire into him. When Uchiha Choshin heard 3rd generation letting him in, he opened the door and came in, standing in front of 3rd Hokage's desk. 3rd Hokage took a sip from the pipe in his hand and asked with concern, "Chushan, what happened when you asked for leave before? Do you need help from me, an old man?" Uchiha Choshin planned to repeat his old tricks and replied, "Reporting to Lord 3rd Hokage, there are some minor problems with my Mangekyo Sharingan. Because I used Susanoo too hard the previous time, my Sharingan has been aching a little since then. I have been trying to see if I can treat it with the help of the clan elders these past few days." The 3rd Hokage was also a little concerned when he heard what Uchiha Chushin said. After all, Uchiha Chushin is now affiliated with Anbu. He is considered his subordinate and belongs to the highest combat power of Konoha village. If there is a problem with Uchiha Chushin's Sharingan, he will also suffer some losses, so he asked with concern, "How is it? Is the problem solved? Does your eye still hurt?" Uchiha Kaido: "When I return to 3rd Hokage, Sharingan is not in pain anymore, but the pattern of his eyes has changed a bit. Mr. Hokage is well informed and a famous ninjutsu doctor. Could you please take a look?" 3rd Hokage heard Uchiha Chushin's compliments, and was very pleased. After all, the person in front of him was the Uchiha clan who had opened the existence of Mangekyo Sharingan, so he could compliment him. 3rd generation was also very happy in his heart, so he said with a smile, "Chushin, I am not omnipotent, but I have not lived this long in vain. Just open your Sharingan and let me take a look to see if I can find the problem." Uchiha Choshin heard 3rd Hokage's words and knew that 3rd generation had taken the bait. He suppressed the joy in his heart and said in a deep voice, "3rd generation Sama, Chushin is sorry, please open it now." With that said, Uchiha Choshin opened his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and looked at the third Hokage. The third Hokage has no doubt in his heart that Uchiha Choshin is going to be detrimental to him. After all, this is the Hokage building. He is surrounded by Anbu ninjas inside and outside. If he attacks him here, the success rate will be high. Even if you succeed, you can't escape. Even if you escape, you still have your tribe and friends in the village, and they can't escape. Just when the third Hokage was still studying the pattern of Uchiha Choshin's Mangekyo Sharingan carefully, and found that there were some changes and became more delicate than before, Uchiha Choshin also launched the pupil technique on the third Hokage. Eye technique, distinguished heavenly gods, activate. Since Uchiha Choshin is also an old acquaintance, the Hyuga clan hiding in the dark did not open their eyes. The Yamanaka clan only maintained the most basic sense without full firepower. This level of sensing is it is impossible to notice anything unusual when the pupil technique distinguished heavenly gods is activated. Just when 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was studying Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Hills, a special force that no one noticed directly invaded 3rd Hokage's brain silently, devastatingly and violently changing his thoughts, and his consciousness, his beliefs, everything in his mind. From then on, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was his slave, Uchiha Hill, and his words were Sarutobi Hiruzen's highest instructions. Eye technique, distinguished heavenly gods, activated successfully. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.